Alright, Fezzy. It's me, your friend, Bitso. I'm here to showcase to you and teach you the basics of Tears of the Kingdom and basically help you get past the difficulties that you're experiencing right now. So it is completely different from Breath of the Wild, where as soon as you start the game, you just wake up, go outside, and the game begins. But I do believe that it does warrant a good storyline, because Breath of the Wild was basically like less narrative and more action adventure. Can I skip this one too? I can. Oh, I can. Okay. Alright, so this is where we actually begin the game. As you can see on your top right, top left, is your HP, and it's only 3. Long hair Link, let's go. Basically, here's your starting weapon, the Broken Sword. Or Broken Master Sword. Alright, so this one is level 1. This is not the weapon you're supposed to be using. But that is one of the, or was the most powerful weapon. So like I mentioned, Y to attack. There you go. This weapon that we're holding right now isn't really preferable. Touch the, or examine the rune stone, or rune gate. Alright. So that thing will move, but we have to ignore that for now. And the world basically operates. So, whatever we're gonna be doing, I'm just gonna be pretty straightforward as much as I can. Like I mentioned, you can skim. I'm gonna be heading out through this door immediately. Go to the left here. When prompted, it says jump, but you don't have to actually do that. You can just jump manually by using Y. By using X. I'm terribly sorry. X to jump over here. Link will climb. There you go. So like I mentioned, it'll prompt to jump, but you can just jump manually. He'll do that. And the same for this one, which is pretty high. There you go. Landing in water, even from great height, will prevent you from taking damage. That is true. So if you ever see a body of water and you don't have any way to survive it, land on water. So the leg wear is pretty important as well as a starter. Head to your inventory by pressing plus. And you can see that there's only 2 tabs open as of now. If you press L and R, it'll cycle the tabs. For armor, this will basically display all of the armors that you will have and will get. And then weapons is all of the weapons that you will get as well. There you go. So pressing A will allow you to interact and open with the chests or objects or, items in between. NPCs, interactions, it basically covers a lot. Now we're at the Great Sky Island and we need to jump. So taking the view. So as soon as we splash down, I'll basically direct you to where you need to go. Tears of the Kingdom is a vast place, and the intro is more confusing compared to Breath of the Wild because there is a lot for you to take in. I feel like while they accommodated for accessibility, they also forgot that new players may jump into this game instead of Breath of the Wild, so they really didn't compensate for people who are new to playing Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild. And this can get a lot more overwhelming than you think, hence that's why you feel like it's kind of difficult or you're experiencing severe difficulties. Hold R to accelerate. You can do this every time you're diving, not just here but everywhere. I don't recommend diving if you're pretty, close to the ground or you know, accelerating while diving if you're pretty close to the ground, because that can kill you. Also, lily pads in waters help you mitigate drowning or losing your stamina. Every time you swim, your stamina bar appears. That green thing over there is your stamina bar. If you have something to step on or like land on, basically your stamina bar, you know, regains. Every time you're in water or climbing, any movement that you do in water will basically, you know, cause this to happen. All right. So right now, after landing from the temple or the shrine, basically go through the steps over here. And immediately you can see to your left is a stick. This is a basic and common weapon in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So pick it up. As you can see, it says wooden branches such as these are pretty common, but it's surprisingly well balanced. It does not do much damage, but can serve as a weapon in a pinch. And you have to rely on this weapon instead of your master sword. So as you can see here, it says equip or take out a weapon from your inventory. Press and hold the right D-pad and select with your right analog. It can get pretty overwhelming and confusing somewhere down the line. A lot of the button presses and combinations are gonna pop up, which will require you to like swiftly change gears as you're fighting enemies, because weapon degradation can be a hassle. But right now, hold left D-pad. As you can see, I have two weapons now. Decayed Master Sword and the Tree Branch. Now, you can see the Decayed Master Sword is not only decayed and broken, but also has less damage than your wonderful Tree Branch. So, switch to the Tree Branch. You can see the weapon changes from your back. Every weapon that you are currently equipping will show on Link's back, so you can see which weapon you're using, but you can always like press and hold the D-pad to see which one you want to switch to. So as soon as you let go of the D-pad, that's the equipped weapon, and again, right analog stick to switch. And right now, I'm making my way through here. As you can see, if you pan to your left, you can see that there is an enemy there, like it's appearing as a question mark. That means that he's wary of your location and wants to investigate. Don't forget to pick up apples, like over here, this one. Apples and fruits and foods are on the way. Are healthy ways to, you know, preserve your HP and heal. So, as you can see, this is a construct. There's another tree branch over there. Pick that up. This construct is pretty easy. As you can see, it's just trying to hit me. You know, it's... But I'm pretty sure that this isn't the issue. What I want you to do is, like, you can see that there is a chevron on top of it. Locking onto it will let me face it forward. Pressing Y will basically bring out my weapon. You don't really need to do that. If I put my weapon back like that and then hit simultaneously, it will basically deal repeated damage. If you perform a successful combo on any enemy and knock them off, you will basically, you know, throw them on the ground and then they will drop whatever they're using. Sometimes they won't drop them, like if they're using a different type of weapon, they will sometimes hold on to it. And there you go. Enemies will take multiple combos depending on the weapon that you are using. If you are using a weaker weapon, combos will take a lot longer and the fight will drag on. But I will explain how to make you a better weapon and get you settled in the world of Hyrule and Zelda. So right off the bat, you can go to your right side, this which is the right path, and left side will have this like mini area over here. Another tree branch is on the ground. Grab that. Chica loose over here. So this is a wooden stick which deals 4 damage, a lot better than your tree branch, which is an upgrade definitely. But hey, why are we getting these weapons? Where's my fancy sword, man? I want to slap somebody. Don't worry, we'll get there. It'll take a bit of time. Nintendo has a way of getting players settled and patience. Like, it's really unbelievably amazing of them to, like, basically let you sit down, hold on, and, like, wait. You know, it teaches you patience in a different level. I know that it can get frustrating and annoying, and I know these type of things kind of, like, get out of hand. When I play Animal Crossing, it can get pretty crazy. I ran into KT's flowers, sorry KT, when I was like the first time playing that game, and I didn't know that can happen. And it really wants you to try to take things slow and have fun. So we're gonna try and achieve that. Now, Bit, I have the level like 4 damage weapon. What do I do? Like, shouldn't we be using that? Yes, definitely you should be using that. So immediately D-pad and then like switch to your weapon like I did earlier as I'm trying to, you know, mimic third-party dialogue. But after equipping that, you can see that again, Link's weapon at his back has changed to the wooden stick. But what is this glowing thing? What does it mean? It means that if a weapon is glowing like this, it's kind of like, you know, pulsing into like the red one. It means that the weapon is about to break. Either a maximum of 3 hits or 5 hits, it can basically already break. So you can see if you switch to it, it says your tree branch is badly damaged, meaning that if I slap this into anything, it may already break. For example, if I slap it to over here, oh, it doesn't want to do that because they kind of fixed that. But if I throw it, it will basically do that. Like your tree branch will break. But if I throw a new fresh branch that isn't broken, it's okay. Also, before anything else, this is just preferential, but if you don't want, hold on, I'll explain it later. Once we get to like aiming in a more appropriate way. So don't do aiming for the meantime. All right. So let's move forward here. There is a open area here. I do recommend staying in the path for now until you can get bearings, mastered combat, and have been able to analyze, the surroundings and got the basics down of how to fight enemies, because enemies vary by rank and they can be difficult and overwhelming at the very beginning, especially with having 3 hearts. It is pretty recommended that you gather yourself as much as you can, get the a high survivability gear, flee fights if you must, because it's highly recommended to survive at the very best. In most video games, that is the #1 goal, is to basically survive. Just like in real life, you know. Ha! Just kidding. Alright, there's another tree branch over here, but like I mentioned, do not stray. Oh, also, if you see mushrooms like these, you can pick them up. You know, sky shroom and other stuff are pretty common foods that you can eat. They can restore a minimal amount of HP. As you can see, now I have 3 tabs. I have tabs for materials, aka, your inventory. This is where you can gather a lot of stuff from, fusing materials to food that can basically help you survive. You can see over here, apples can restore half a heart. And of course, the sky shroom can restore a quarter of a heart, which is not that many, but that's just too little for survivability. I don't think that can help. Don't worry, there is a method later on that will help us basically get by and to, surviving and getting more hearts out of all of these materials, or, aka the foods. So right now, activate this one. No, it's not responding, so let's talk to this construct over here. Pretty, tidy. The constructs are pretty adorable. Like, these servant constructs are pretty adorable. I have waited for you. Yeah, we're gonna skip this one because I feel like you're already past this area. But here is your Purah Pad. This basically lets you access your, I think, map, if I'm correct. And then, it'll have additional features later on. It's a Nintendo Switch. Alright, so it has a variety of features that are essential for adventure. Not much is said because later on you'll discover a variety of things in between. To open the Purah Pad, you need to press the minus button. What happened to select and start? And here we are. This is the Skyrim, no, the Great Sky Island. Oh, fuck me. So scuffed. As you can see, it is pretty confusing because there are upper levels and lower levels that cannot be tapped into. This is a combination of both. So it can get extremely overwhelming, and I can understand why it appears to be difficult. A lot of people consider this really confusing as well because with the introduction to sky islands and like floating islands, it became apparent that you can't really like, you know, show what's underneath or like what's above, so it like further gives the confusion and like the illusion that you're actually above or below. But once you get into the proper areas, I will, you know, explain much more further. But to access this, remember that it's like the, you know, minus. And you can see here that it's blinking. Find Princess Zelda. So this is the location that we need to head. I think if I remember correctly, you're already past like one of the shrines. I received it from Princess Zelda. I have now passed it on to you. Records indicate that Princess Zelda is waiting at the location marked on its map. Message has been delivered. We stand at the Garden of Time, or the Great Sky Island. Actually, that's the Temple of Time. Is visible from here. The Garden of Time, I think it covers the whole Great Sky Island. It was used in the distant past. Many rites and ceremonies of the kingdom were held here. But no more. Now it is a lonely place no one visits. Sad. Now that activates the rune gate or rune portal right in front of us. So we now have a main objective. Now we need to get over there. By using the Purah Pad, we can now zoom in or, you know, have looks. So here is the thing. As you can see, this is by the gyro on the Nintendo Switch Pro or maybe on your Nintendo Switch. If this is too nauseating, what you can do is head to options. Press plus. Head to systems, and then go to options. Go to aim with motion controls. As you can see, enable or disable the motion controls while aiming. Head to disable, and then exit out of it by pressing B. Now, if I aim, it won't wobble. No matter how much I want to fling KT Switch Pro controller that I'm like this gifted to me. As you can see, this is much more smoother, especially later on in combat. If you have like, because when you're trying to aim, and especially if you have shaky hands, this is gonna be really good. However, if you prefer using your whole controller as an aiming, just go back to the system and enable it. You know, go back to system options and then enable aim motion controls if that's more helpful to you. But I do turn it off, and it's pretty helpful because it doesn't let me, like, you know, get too much shakiness. So pressing the right analog stick or R3, I don't know if it's but basically pressing the R analog stick allows you to zoom in and access your scope, which allows you to pin. By the way, if you press A, you can pin, and then it will appear in your map. And every time you open your lens, it'll appear, or scope, it'll appear in the scope. You can also move with the scope, but you're pretty slow. And then later on, I'll show you additional techniques on how to use that. So for now, let me remove the pin. You can also edit the pin to something else if you prefer, a different color pin, or just basically take it out completely by deleting it. There you go. Alright, examine. Alright. Now let's move in forward. As you can see, there is no access after this one. Like, you can see that there's an edge over there. And right over here is another area. You can talk to this person, but don't forget to pick up the apple. You can jump to pick it up. Or you can technically knock the tree down if you have a sharper weapon. We don't have that, unfortunately. You seem to be new here. Do you intend to use this weapon against the soldier constructs? Not really. The Zonai who created us gave them strict orders to protect this land. They will regard you as trespassers if they spot you, and their directive is to eliminate all trespassers. You will have a little choice in this scenario but to fight them. It is better you not hold back on your account. But I forgot to mention, don't let yourself get killed. I have a piece of advice if you do choose to engage with them. It is crucial to maintain a proper distance and target your opponents. Swinging haphazardly will not yield results. Well, swinging haphazardly if you are close to them will yield results. So ZL, press and hold like I mentioned before, is one way to lock on targeting. You may practice targeting on me if you want. Oh, but please do not actually attack. So if you want, yeah, you can practice on them. You can actually lock onto NPC, especially when you're moving. So if the chevron is not appearing on their head, then yeah, you won't lock onto the target. And if they get further away, the target lock-on will disappear. So you need to make sure that you maintain a distance. So there you go. That's pretty good practice on them if you want. Moving around over here. Stuff. Like if you get too far, it locks off. Okay. If you're fighting an actual enemy, they will follow you. So the lock-on will not let go. Also, if you see these tiny things, you can actually search them for Zonai charges, which I'll explain later what they can do. Alright. So we're at the edge over here, and you can see that we are supposed to be heading to that temple where the dragon is flying above. Now it says jump, but like I mentioned, you can hit X to jump. And by the way, you can control your diving. Alright. Frogs, don't forget you can pick up all of those. Any type of animal that you can take your hands on, except for like deers and bears. They needed to be hit first before you can actually take out their parts. So as you can see in the minimap in your lower right, it's pointing in north that like it's glowing. Oh, there's an enemy on my left as well. So as I demonstrated, lock on, move away if they're attacking. There you go. They can deal, depending on the weapon that they're using, they can deal a huge amount of damage. So you have to be very careful. Let them swing first, if you'd like. If they're doing that, just make sure you make a like good distance. Alright, they stop attacking. They do have a variety of attacks, so go. Just take note that every time you attack them, they also get stunned, but this isn't always the case. Some enemies can withstand your attacks, especially if you're using a very weak weapon. If you're using a weak weapon, enemies will ignore damage taken. They will still take damage, but they won't be stunned, like, you know, as you've seen earlier. And it can be pretty, you know, bad if after you perform a combo or midway through the combo, they start to attack because they can wind up attacks. After picking those up, you can, like I mentioned before, like circle around and explore if you like. But we need to head to our destination first, so let's follow this path straight forward and head to where we need to go. This may take a while, but I will showcase the most basics I can and as thoroughly as possible. So right now there's two of them. One of them is actually holding a longer stick. Alright. You can only attract one of them, but sometimes they will alarm, so this is gonna be overwhelming. So I will show you how to deal with them all three at the same time. So right now, the one with the longer stick will be the most threatening one because they have the better range, while the others will just try and get close to you and swing. If as much possible, try to aim for this one. As you can see that he is gonna try and do thrust attacks like that. There's two ways to avoid taking damage from them. It's either try to circle around them or get close to them and smack him as fast as possible. Take note that these constructs are pretty slow and they can do those attacks as well. And they sometimes move backwards like that. Okay. My HP is very low, as you can see. I only have like a quarter of a heart left. Now, I can consume apples to heal myself, like I mentioned before. But later on, I will show you, or it will show you how to basically level, like, you know, have more food as a viable means for health. So right now, there you go. You can jump if you like to like gain distance. So now I have a new weapon called the long stick. It's just incredibly long. You can also throw weapons like I mentioned before. Alright. So hold R to aim. But as you can see, if you are aiming, there's a crosshair that appears, right? And then you can just like throw it. But here's the fun thing. If you lock onto the target and aim with a weapon in hand, it automatically locks on. So you don't need to track them. Just lock on with your ZL and R and then throw. Oh, okay. That's pretty silly. But you can also adjust your aim to headshots and it will keep track of the enemy as long as you're holding the ZL or lock on. There you go. The tree branch broke. As intended. Long weapons have only thrust attacks, as you can see over here, but it makes up for the long range. Spear weapons or long weapons like spears and well, it's mostly spears, will have good distances that will help you fight enemies, you know, and like without having to worry about like getting too close. However, most spears or sticks, long as this one, will always have lower attacks. So like for example, they can have very good combos, but be wary that, you know, they can get stunned. Like these constructs can get stunned, but they won't. Other enemies later on will have like more powerful ones. Like they can withstand normal attacks like this one. There you go, it broke. But Bit, my weapons keep breaking. Like what the heck? What do we do about that? Well, that's what me and Katie have been complaining for the most part of the game. Breath of the Wild had that issue as well, and it's pretty bad. But somewhere down the line, you'll get a weapon that is indestructible, but needs a recharge. Alright. Okay, so we now have weapon basics, I believe. But we still are using weak weapons. Like this stick is pretty short. Only deals 4 damage, pretty bad. And of course, you know, it can be throwables. Talk to this construct or pick up the mushrooms right in front of him. Okay, this one is a toasty sky shroom. Simply grilled sky shroom heat brings out its flavor and increases the amount of health it can recover. I roasted that, but it's yours if you want. You roast them? I had not noticed it for you, unfamiliar to me, my apologies. Among my tasks is to explain anything that visitors may require knowledge of. You may have questions about displays. Please rest assured that Construct can answer them. Your question was about roasting food. I roast ingredients by placing them beside the fire. I do not eat, but I am given to understand that it improves the taste. Our creators roasted the ingredients in order to enhance their nutritional value. Do you have ingredients? I invite you to use this fire to roast. So, as you can see, if you are eating food raw, like the apples and the sky shrooms, their recovery is pretty minimal as of the moment. They are raw foods. Like you can see that this one recovers 1 health so far. Or like a quarter of your heart so far. Sorry, not 1 health. But if you look at foods, we have another tab for foods. Cooked foods and combined meals can yield better results for your healing. And this is what I'm trying to explain. But this isn't the thing that I was talking about. Basically, if you want a better output of healing or better healing, you can roast foods or you can chill them. So for example, I have the apple and you can see that the apple has only half an HP per heal. If you press A while having the apple selected and hold for it, drop it close to the fire, it will roast anytime. Pick it up. Oh, sorry, too early. It was catching fire already. It will roast and then you will have a toasty apple or baked apple. So now it recovers a quarter of your health. Direct heat has softened and sweetened this apple. Eat it to restore 3/4 of heart. So there you go. Now, we can do the same for mushrooms and a variety of things except for herbs and leaves and frogs. Don't roast frogs, I beg of you. You can cook frogs, but don't roast them. So now we're gonna head towards the Temple of Time right over here. We'll just do a quick swim. Doing dash will expand your stamina, which is not really recommended, especially if you're further from where you're traveling. It may look fast, but it is not recommended. It just kills your time traversing the area. Climb over here. You can also jump by climbing, but again, it consumes stamina, so it is not recommended. So climbing higher walls like these, you can climb any mountain as long as it's climbable. But then again, I have to say that it can be pretty difficult for you to like keep jumping on them or like scale all of them if you don't have enough stamina. You can try and take breaks in between, but it will not recover your stamina as you are holding on. You need to be standing on the ground and able to like basically recover from it. Okay, so right now we're trying to face a enemy that has a shield. That's unfair, right? This guy has a shield and I don't. But don't worry, he's not gonna be holding his shields all the time. He's gonna be attacking in between. So just patiently wait for his shields to come down. And then wait for the right opportunity to basically strike. There you go. He's dead. You can also attack enemies that have shields, but it can decrease your weapon durability a lot faster versus, you know, attacking the enemy directly. So it can you can break his shield stance by hitting him repeatedly, but at the same time that will basically, you know, give an issue with your weapon degradation. So you can now raise your shield because we now have a shield. As you can see, your shield is right over there. And we have a new weapon, a rusty broadsword. What? Why? Why are we getting so nasty weapons? Why don't we get a good weapon? Like, why don't we get a wonderful and strong and powerful weapon? Well, we're still in the tutorial phase of the game. As long as we're in this island, we can never easily leave. So right now we do have a shield, and every time you try and lock on, Link will now showcase his shield and flash it to anyone who's actually like facing him. Even if you're not fighting anyone, pressing ZL or talking to anyone or locking onto anyone will now brandish his shield. And this will offer a great defensive advantage against a lot of enemies that you will encounter along the way. Don't worry, your shield is capable of more than just being brandished and protecting you. And I will explain that later. But right now, let's switch to our new powerful weapon, which is a rusty broadsword. It is an improvement from our wooden sticks. It is an actual weapon. And let's head to the Temple of Time. Activate the rune.
That door will open only to those with sufficient power. I'm sorry. I did not intend to startle you. It was I that spoke to you earlier. That arm originally belonged to me. I am Raru. Forgive me for appearing to you in this manner. Unfortunately, I no longer have a physical...
I can't skip, I'm sorry. But just skim through the video if you can. Alright, so the door is inaccessible. Oh, we can skip. And open the adventurous log. Now, when you try to open the door, the Temple of Time, Raru appeared and said he was the original owner of your new arm. He also said you need to revitalize the arm so the power of its touch will open the door. To that, visit the island's shrines. A green light spirals above each step. So, as you can see, this is where your scope can be useful. You can press A to mark them, and then they will appear in the map. And now you have a new location to go to. And again, you can also head to the menu. Press L or R to cycle between tabs. cycle to the map tab, and then edit this pin to turn it into something differently. Just note that if it's a stamp, it won't appear in your scope. It's like, for example, if it's a cooking stamp and you use a scope, you won't see the bright light. If you pin it, you will see the bright light every time you use the scope. So if you change directions, you will see the bright light. It's good for circumnavigating the world, especially if you're trying to get lost. Or if you're... No, sorry. If you're getting lost. So right now, we need to head to that direction. Again, I'm gonna be straightforward. There is a lot to take in and explore as much as possible, right? We need to get the... to the Temple of Time and recover all of our things. There's a huge gap over here. You can pretty much just jump over here. You won't take full damage. And if you ever did so, just eat some food. Oh, there's also an enemy right over there. You can see. Now, if you jump over here and if you look thoroughly on your sides, you can see those glowing, glinting ones. These are arrows, and they're pretty essential to combat as well. So pick up as much as you can, because you are really gonna need all of these. As you can see, this enemy here will try and shoot us by locking onto them. As you can see, I don't have my shield activated right now. Like, I have my shield up. I have my shield visible, but it's not really like brandished, so it's not protecting me at all. You need to lock on. And hence, if you get hit by them, you can see that the shield is protecting you from the arrows. So there you go. Just take note that shields can also break. So if you're trying to be shot by this guy and then like it's too much, you can brandish your shield, lock on, get close, smack with your shield up, and that will basically take the construct out. There you go. And now you have the old wooden bow. Now press and hold ZR to use or aim the bow, and then release to shoot. I will demonstrate in a second over here. Now let's follow the pathway right through here. There's a lot more arrows. And oh, look at that. There's an enemy right over there. Okay, so to aim, it's right trigger or ZR. And as you can see, I am aiming with my analog. It's kind of slow, but there is another better way. By holding ZL, you are locking onto the target and adjust for headshots. Let go of ZR. There you go. Hit an enemy's head with an arrow to perform a critical hit that deals twice the damage. And again. So that makes it a lot easier for you to target these enemies and make it less frustrating to fight them using your analog stick, because the analog sensitivity here cannot be increased. Therefore, it can be problematic to basically fight enemies while aiming, and it can be a huge problem. I'm really having a fun time like replaying this area. Oh, there's a gap over here. You can always climb. Mushrooms are another set of mushrooms, but they have another effect. I'll explain those later. Okay, there you go. Like I mentioned, you can climb walls and you can scale walls, but just make sure that your stamina does not run out. I do not recommend jumping all the time because it will exhaust your stamina much more than climbing. You can scale a whole wall properly if you just climb it slowly rather than jumping, because jumping consumes it twice as much. Now we're in the first ever shrine Raru has told us to enter, but if you pan around and look around you, you can see that there is 2 more shrines. There's another shrine right over there that you can pin. And then if you look over there, there's another shrine that you can also pin. There you go. Alright. So right now, let's enter the shrine. We will be filled with challenges and, you know, discover new things as well. Shrines prove to be mini games in the world, but it also serves as a mini tutorial for the stuff that you can get. Basically, the Sky Island is gonna be your base tutorial for your new gear and new abilities. But somewhere down the line in the Hyrule, they will teach you new things. Basically, how to fuse and which to fuse, how to circumnavigate, and like how to bypass some like gaps and areas in between the worlds. Like, it will prove to be a bit of a challenge. But with all of these shrines that you'll encounter and find along the way, not only you will be rewarded with hearts, but you will also be rewarded. Well, not hearts. You will be rewarded with, you know, lights that you'll need to get at least 4 of them so that you can trade in for a heart or a stamina wheel. Now Raru will give us or revitalize the power of his arm. And we will get our first ability, which is the Ultrahand. So I was trying to remember. Okay, grab and move objects, rotate them, and stick them to other objects. Ultrahand is basically Magnesis in the first game, which is Breath of the Wild. However, Magnesis only latches onto magnetic items. Ultrahand latches onto nearly everything, except for enemies. Okay? Allows you to move objects freely and attach them to other objects. So, basically, now we can fuse and combine objects. So, left button to activate. Because in your upper left screen underneath your hearts is now your Ultrahand, and you'll have more along the way. You have, if you press up for your D-pad, this will be your material settings. We will explain that later as well. Left D-pad to access your shields. You'll have tons of shields along the way, but you can only keep a handful because you'll need to expand your inventory. Same with your bows and your shields, or sorry, and your swords. And right trigger for your swords. And as you can see, this one is you know, pulsing red. That means that it's about to break as well, but it's still useful, so just keep it for now. Now with Ultrahand, just press L button and then aim. Again, if you have the aim with motion controls, it can be wobbly, but if you turn it off, you'll just be aiming with your analog stick or right analog stick without any issues. Press A to grab the object. Drop it off like that. I'm pretty sure you already have the breakdown on these things, but I'm just explaining thoroughly for you know, additional stuff. There you go. Now the bridge is small on this one, so I'd like to combine this two to make a longer bridge. There you go. This should be called Link the Builder. Haha. Sorry. Enough with the puns. And look at that. There is a chest there, too high for you to reach. Grab this one, your super new, you know, slab bridge. Actually, you don't need to use the bridge, but this is a nifty way. You can also just aim at it. I don't think you can, yeah. But this is another way you can do. If you're too, you know, if you don't really put it over there, you can just like nab it from here. But basically, if you get too close because your Ultrahand is too short, you'll need to use the bridge to drop it over there and then grab it. Also, we found an amber. The amber is not really something of importance right now, but later on it'll be pretty useful. It can be used to fuse items as well later down the line, but right now it's not really something that we need to use. Alright. So how do we get by over there? It's simple. If you look over here, there is a gondola-ish looking thing, a homemade gondola using hooks, and there's a hook right there. Oh, that's what we're gonna be doing. You can grab. If it's not the type of form that you're looking for, you can hold R to rotate, let go, and then there you go. Fuse it in the center and push it a bit. It should move us forward. You may need to do this in a variety of items as well, just to, you know, make things move. Or there's other ways to do that, which you'll see later on. Okay, so after this one, you will be offered, every shrine that you complete will offer you a light. A light of, I forgot what it's called, a light source. It basically offers you a light orb that will basically help you trade it for hearts or stamina wheel. Light of Blessing. Sorry. Okay, a crystal close. You will need to have 4 of these. So you need 4 to complete 4 shrines to be able to trade it for 1 piece of heart. Bit, that's too much. I can't do that, man. Like, the world of Hyrule is in trouble. Don't worry, a lot of these shrines are not that hard to do. Like, there are gonna be some difficult ones or trivial ones and tricky ones, but with your abilities and with the advanced techniques I'm gonna be showing you, you'll be able to smoothly bypass them and go by as much shrines as you want. There are gonna be shrines that will contain only a chest and the Light of Blessing itself, because by proving that you've, conquered and bypassed the world before the shrine, or, delivered, you completed the challenge before the shrine, then that means you've already successfully done the trial just so you can reach the shrine. That means that you don't need to do the trial within the shrine, so you can just grab the Light of Blessing. But most of the shrines will have areas filled with challenges along the way, which I believe you can handle. If you have any problems, don't worry, you can ask KT or me, If you visit and complete 2 more shrines, you should be able to open the door to the Temple of Time. You may want to mark the shrines in the distance with pins, then you'll never lose track of where they are. Use the scope in the Purah Pad. I already did that, Rauru. Thank you very much for letting me know. Alright, so press R to place a pin. Just what I said before, and I've already done that. So if you use the scope, you can see where they are. Now, like I mentioned, there are a variety of ways to tackle the Sky Island, and this is where it gets extremely overwhelming. Unlike Breath of the Wild, it was flat and basic. No matter where you go, you're running or climbing or swimming to cover the distance. But with new tools given to you, there are various ways to get there, to be honest. Like, right now, you can choose to go cross this small gap, or go back and use those materials over there to form the gondola and then have a ride over there. Which one do you think is easy? Well, it's up to you to choose. But the route I chose is basically over here, drop down here, build a bridge, or I built a bridge because it is a lot easier than the other one over there. Either one will cover the area in the same amount of time, so don't worry. Also, I think this can get really tricky because you need space. Just remember, you can rotate stuff. There you go, put it down there. A lot of people, I think, that I've seen in the YouTubes have dropped this thing, so they didn't have any other way to cover it. But you can reload the area by teleporting or entering the shrines and leaving them. There you go, bridge is done. And cross the bridge, there you go. No problem at all, right? Easy. Oh, there's apples over here. So here's another trick, but I'll explain it later as we get further, because the weapon that we're using isn't really suitable. Okay, drop down over here, as you can see. Like I mentioned, anything in this game is, obtainable. You can grab them, you can, like, mix and match and stuff like that. I don't want to spoil a lot, but if you press left, analog stick, you can crouch. Crouching allows you to sneak, and you can see in the lower left of your map there is a sonar bar, or like a sonic emitter. I don't know what it's called. It's a graph. There's a graph in your lower left underneath your temperature bar, and like in between the weather and time. So that means that if it's in a steady line, you're not making any noise. If you're moving, even if you're crouching, you're making noise. But if you're moving faster, like running, you can see that it's actually going crazy. It means that you're making a lot of noise. So the trick is to lessen the noise that you have. Like, for example, if I'm moving really slowly, it's barely no noise at all, right? There's still some, but those counts as like noise reduced, basically. I'm sorry, my explanation may be getting too much. But if you're moving a bit faster, you can see that it can still emit a bit of noise. So move slowly to cover ground. Oh, that can happen too. Also, these are sunset Fireflies? They can be mixed later on. You don't need to grab them now, but that's actually a good example to try and grab them. You need to be sneaking because if you try and grab them, they will fly away from you, and we wouldn't want that now, do we? So it's a good practice for you to, like, you know, take it slow and grab all the things that you can. Alright, Brassy Broadsword's damage. It's a good indicator. Alright, so right now... Alright. What do you want to say? I see that there's still work even after now. We originally created the constructs to assist our endeavors. All of us are fond of them. I never imagined that they would continue to carry out their assigned tasks to this day. The fact that their lever no longer serves any purpose, yet they see a performance, still is disquieting this time. Alright, go inside to grab a variety of things. We have wood, and then a Zonai charge from every broken down construct, which is really sad because they are pretty active back in the day. Now, you also have a fire over here. You can sit down and you can pass time if you like. You can pass time anytime you like. Take note that this does not recover any of your HP, so it can only pass time and it will not recover your HP. As you can see, we are heading towards where we should be. If you open your map, you can see that the objective is still here, right? But Rauru said you need to find Princess Zelda or access to the closed door and find like 2 more of the shrines. So the objective did not change. It was up to you to basically mark them and head toward them, which is kind of, you know, misleading, I'd like to say. Alright, so right here we have another construct. Well, let's talk to them. Fix your gaze forward, face it head on. I was absorbed in woodcutting. Are you woodcutting too? Okay. Woodcutting is the practice of chopping down trees to create logs. Logs can be combined to assemble platforms, which you can also chop down to make further wood. Lumber has many uses, that is why I come here daily to chop wood. And yet I still find it difficult to chop them down in the intended direction. That's why you may have heard me muttering myself, fix your gaze forward and face it head on. I've been rambling for some time. There's an axe I no longer need over there. It is yours if you want to use to do some wood cutting. It has grown so late already, I must have failed to notice the time bell. I will rest for the day. So there you go. She will let go of the wood cutting for you. There's also additional woods over here, which you can turn into fire if you have other sources of fire, which I will also explain later. Now, Bit, where are we supposed to be heading? I mean, it's really confusing right now. There's an area over here, there's an area over there. What do we do? And, like, there's more. So, right now, let's focus on the task at hand. We need to get to our designated location, which is the, over here. As you can see, there's a lot of gaps in between that we need to cover. This island over here, we'll run into it in a second, like right over there. But, like I said, you can put pins to remember if you can't get over there right now. So right now, this is an unexplored area. Anything will do, but I will mark it as a star or a diamond to indicate that I have not gone to that area. Maybe later on, we'll be able to go there. Let me just grab the wood cutting axe over here. As you can see, there's already plenty of logs for you to use. And if you look over here, that there is a gap that we need to accommodate. Now, you'll be wondering, why is there a raft? Excuse me, or like a log-based raft over here. I'll explain later. Right now, we need to combine logs to make a makeshift bridge. If you want to disconnect them, just shake the right analog stick and it will disassemble. Just take note that, for example, if you combine all 3 of them and you shake the center one, all 3 will disconnect. But if you just use either side, like for example this side over here, and you shake him off, that's the only side that disassembles. It's pretty important to take note of that, especially if you're trying to disassemble stuff later down the line. So now I've built this one, but it doesn't seem to be enough. Or would it be good enough to cover the space or gap? Let's see over here. Nope. I don't think it will. It will fall. Okay. So just put it back. By the way, I forgot to mention moving up and down using your analog stick, and forward and backward with the D-pad, and of course left and right for the location. There's no left and right on a D-pad, and of course R button to basically rotate how you would go about. It's kind of tricky to learn at first, but you know, you'll get a hang of it. Okay, we're gonna attach this one over here, and then we're gonna attach this one over here. Can I actually cook this log? Okay, let's not find out. We're kind of burning time. Oh no! Our logs isn't really that enough. What do we do? Now, you can use weapons to actually destroy trees. But don't do that because it'll break a lot faster. If you use a woodcutter, it will break the tree a lot faster as well. If it falls like that, it also generates a bunch of things like tree branches. There you go. Now we have two. And grab that. I hope that I'm making it clear and not confusing. Oh no. Alright, there you go. So let's test it out. Maybe it can now reach. It can get pretty laggy because of, you know, Switch performance. Put it down there like that. There you go. Of course, you can make a longer one if you want to take the time to do so. That's no problem at all. But since that worked, we're good to go. Okay, now where do we go? Well, we can still head forward to where we're supposed to be reaching. As you can see, right over here is the right path. If you check the map, we need to go through here, and then here, and then, oh, it gets really confusing right over here. So let's get our bearings first. But wait, this is the correct path. If you think like it is the correct path. This is the path that you're supposed to be following. You're following the roads most of the times. There's a construct right over there. It's supposed to be teaching us something new. There's also water over area over here, and other animals, as you can see. But what is this? What does this do? Basically, this is a hovering device or platform. You can use it as well to reach certain areas. But how do you use it? You just grab it and put it over here. And just remember the controls for grabbing. Now this is a big one. You can climb on top of it and change directions as well. Also, if you are having problems like grabbing apples and trees, you can just chop it down. It will drop all of the apples and everything along with it, plus the logs. Let's get inside over here. Open the chest. And there you go. So if you look at your map, this is the area that I marked earlier. Now you can delete it from the stamp and mark it as accessed. Or leave the stamp on to just like remind you that, oh, you've already been there, you know. It depends on you. So now this one can still be moved. It doesn't require energy or anything else. You can move it around like this and that, like climb it. If there is a ridges like that, basically you can climb it like, okay. Don't worry, that was part of the tutorial. Don't do that, basically. Don't climb on it if it's like not facing, if it's like in a vertical position. Okay, every time you fall from a great height, invisible to you, you lose a health. So be careful about falling. Okay, let's move over here. You can still like run through it if you don't like. But every area will take you, like give you a instruction in a slow-paced level as well. Oh, there's another one of those things. Let's not bother with that one. You can also see boxes over here. You can use your woodcutter to break the box open to grab arrows and whatever is inside of it. The same with barrels. That's actually a pretty nifty tool as well. Keep in mind that every battle out there and boxes will always have something. Because I don't think they didn't have anything at all. I'm engaging hunting. Wild creatures in a forest. I don't remember seeing you here before. Fulfill several rules. One is to provide necessary explanations to newcomers such as yourself. Other constructs you meet will be able to answer questions you may not have about other objects. Hunting. To hunt is to dispatch wild creatures. Many of them will dwell in this forest. They are highly nutritious to organic life. They are also extremely wary. The hunter must not make noise. Crouching is essential for silence. Okay. So like I mentioned earlier, crouching is by pressing the L trigger. A bow can be used to strike from afar. Aiming for weak spots is best. I'll give you the bow placed over there to use it as you please. Now here we go. ZR or right trigger to aim for the bow. Press and hold to select the bow type, because there you will be having a lot of bows. And then right analog stick to select the bow that you like. So if you press ZR, it will ready the bow. Hold the right D-pad to select the bow that you like. You can swap on the fly, even mid-air you can swap. So it's up to you. And then let go to select the bow. And of course, aim. Headshots are extremely preferable, especially for weak weapons. They basically let you shoot targets from great distances, and of course, critical hits will kill them or like lower their HP a lot more. If you have a low damaging arrow or low damaging weapon or bow, that can make them fly away or like panic and run. That will prompt you to like shoot them a couple more times. And since you're shooting from a distance, locking on is not a thing here, so you will need to rely on your aiming wits. You will need to make sure that your aim is true, you can cover the distance, and you're aiming properly. Don't worry, wind isn't a thing here. You don't need to worry about that. But the curve and distance will vary. So right now, I'm aiming for the head. There you go. Scuffed, like I mentioned. But there you go. But that's just one way to practice shooting. Now they've run afar. That's not really an issue for us to like track them down. By crouching, you lessen your presence to them, and they can get pretty unaware of you. Oh my god, they're just running around. Aiming can get really frustrating at times here. There you go. So as you can see, I shot it, but I only aimed for its butt, so it's now flying away. If you had a headshot, then you can basically like kill it in one shot. You can't really like, I'm pressing ZL or like left trigger and it's not working because you can't really aim for them. Alright, so there is something else over here, but we will tackle that later. If you want to, since I've already taught you how to use these things, you can just form a small platform bridge, drop down, and then you should be good to go. Where are they? I want to showcase how to shoot them down. You can also move while shooting, which isn't really recommended because it can make your shots fly incredibly badly. You can also crouch while you're aiming, and aim while crouching. So right now, I'm gonna try to aim for its head. Oh my god, that's what I'm trying to say. Don't worry, it needs a bit of a practice, but I'm pretty sure that you... Oh, yeah, you have to be very careful. They disappear. There you go. If you hear that ding sound, you'll be able to basically... it basically means that you've done a headshot or critical hit. Every time you hear that on enemies or any type of animal that you're shooting down, it means that you've landed a critical hit. Okay. So just as another example here, you can turn these into platforms. Like just lock onto this one, rotate it properly. This over here. Just be careful when jumping gaps because you don't have a proper tool yet to soften the drop. So like that. Push it underneath. There you go. And drop over here. Now you're in the island. And then in order for you to just come back, you can just climb the platform. Okay? Just take note, if you die or fall, it will probably reset the platforms that you place. And that happens for everything that you fused or combined. So be very careful. Also, pick up these stamp bulbs or plants. They can be helpful later on for mixing and matching. There you go. Insects and fishes are also something that you can grab. Just make sure that when you're catching insects, no matter what they are, crickets, fairies, or you know, fireflies, butterflies, dragonflies, you know, just make sure to crouch because they will fly as soon as they see you and it can make things a lot more difficult. As for fishes, you can see them. You can just grab them. Fishes, frogs, they have the same component. So you can dash to grab them. There you go, Asian arowana. Make sure to grab one of these because you'll need them later on. There you go. And they're also good for food. You can eat them raw, but I wouldn't really recommend it right now. If you are in an emergency setting, eating them will give you 1 heart, and if you killed or shot down the burbs, you can get raw meats from them. You can get a variety of meats. You don't need to specifically shoot them at a certain part, but if you kill them with headshots or with you know, body shots, you can get a variety of amounts of meat, like drumstick or raw prime meat, or either one. They can have a variety ones, like for example, bulls will probably have or bisons will probably have like a prime steak, so that's actually pretty good. And yeah, again, if you roast some of these, for example, you don't really need to go to your menu to drop items, but it is a lot more easier to navigate here because, you know, it's in a grid form, while pressing up will basically let you, you know, see it in a horizontal form. It's harder to browse because it'll display everything. And you can sort them out, but like I mentioned, it's still pretty difficult. So you can drop raw meat on the fire by pressing X to toast it. Barbecuing it, I like to call. Wait for the fire to set in. There you go. Now you have seared steak. Mmm. I'm sorry. Alright. Now where do we go? Bit like, as demonstrated, the line ends there, but where do we go after? So as you can see, there is a pond over here. Or is it lake? No, it's a pond. You can also shoot arowanas or fishes if you like. There you go. Just remember that the rest of them will swim away, but they don't really disappear. There's a variety of ways to grab them. I will also showcase that later. So now there's 2 ways. You can go there and then go there, or just head there directly, you know? Climb up over there without any issues. What do you think? It's all up to you. It's all up to you whether you want to go there. But this is definitely a shortcut that you can take. There's the arrow that we shot earlier. Arrows that you shoot that missed will always stuck on where you shot it. Will always stick where you shot it, sorry. So you can make sure to grab it again and, you know, use it. So we can go through here or climb up over there. Raru is waiting over there. I don't know why he's there. So there's a variety of places for you to go. This is why it gets overwhelming. Raru, what do you want? I love this view of the Temple of Time. It always took a moment to appreciate it. The Garden of Time was quiet, but all the sound of can be heard was a time bell ringing from the mornings and evenings. It was as if the whole place changed its chime, especially at night when the sound signaled the emergency of the fireflies. Those were glorious times. Don't worry, we'll make Hyrule great again. Alright, you can go anywhere you want, basically, but let's go through this path first. I want to showcase... Oh, there's another birdie. I want to showcase, like, the long run and what we can encounter along the way. If you go through this path, you'll encounter more birds. There you go. A headshot will basically kill it, and then you'll have more. It randomly drops 1 or 2, but if you can see over here, we're now standing on where the road resumes. So you can swim through here or go up. You can see that there's also a pot there and another construct. But let's shoot more burbies. There you go. If you are shooting a bird right next to another bird, it will cause the other birds to panic. You can also hit them if they're way too close. But they always run away, you know. It makes it pretty difficult to kill them. They will always drop raw meat. The other birds that you will find will basically drop prime meat. And as you can see over here... Oh, sorry. Drumstick. It dropped 2 raw meats. So there you go. That's pretty good. And there's another stand bulb over here. We're kind of straying from the path. If you go over here, you'll find nothing. Yet. But if you explore a bit further, you'll you'll find something good in it. So if I were you, just don't stray from the road and the path so that you can get directly to where you need to be. It can really get confusing, especially with a lot of trees, because in the first game, or Breath of the Wild, basically, it's always open area, so you can see directly where you need to beeline for, you know? If you need to go to from point A to point B, there isn't really much trees to get you confused. I see that they're trying to encourage you to explore and find things in between, so it's pretty crazy. So right now we have a pot here. What does the pot do? Are we gonna be cooking like Gordon Ramsay? Heck yeah. Okay. I was absorbed in preparing my next meal. I don't recall having seen you here before. I must doubly apologize for my inattentiveness. It is the duty of a construct to field any questions that those such as yourself may have. You may pose these questions to any construct, we will answer them at best. Also, this is another issue. They can't be direct with what you need. They always start off with like, I am a construct and I'm here to serve you, and what do you want? Like, compared to before, you know, it's just completely brief. Cooking, yes. I'm uneducated to cooking, yeah. Educate me. Cooking step 1, hold the ingredients in your arms, like so. Step 2, throw them into the pot of fire. It needs to be lit, by the way. If it's not lit, then it's not gonna get cooked. That is the simple version. The world of cooking can be as complex as you want. There are many possible dishes. What you make and what effect you gain depends on the ingredients used. Some meals are warming, others may replenish stamina. Tiny organisms known as critters and monster parts are not food. Save them as base for elixirs. So I'm gonna explain those as well. This information was provided by our creators, but I cannot eat, so take it with a grain of salt. Food joke. I will remain stationed here. Ask me anytime for further questions about you. It's already late. I was too absorbed in cooking to notice. I will rest until the next time bell. Do not let that dissuade you if you have questions. So now we can cook. Press pause or plus. Now in your materials you can see that there are a variety of ingredients and materials that you can use. Be warned that if you mix hot-footed frog or critters with foods like arowana, fish, or mushrooms that you can actually eat, it will turn into a bad food. You can eat the bad food, but it will only give you a little amount of health. So right now we can mix and match. What if you make wait, hold on. So in order for you to like cook food, you basically need to hit pause and then select the material or food that you want or critter that you want. Hit A, press hold or select hold, and then it will hold the items. And now you can keep holding anything, like even this construct. So don't do that. So right now you can basically hold any of the two. But wait, what is this purpose for? It's basically just to mix food. So you need to be very careful, because if you can mix 5 or cook 5 of apples, it'll give you a higher stat or higher HP recovery apples. There you go. It's been an hour and a half. Okay, so now we've mixed 5 of them, and if you head to the food tab, you can see that we now have a simmered fruit with 5 HP. Now, if you have 5 hearts, it will give you 5 hearts in total. But you only have 3. What do we do with that? Well, now you need to learn and balance cooking foods. If you hold 2, I'll skip that. You now have 2 whole hearts. That's better than just eating half a heart, basically. Now, what if we mix it up? What if you mix 1 raw meat and 1 apple? What happens then? You'll have a meat skewer with like more HP in between. However, what if we now mix it with something like mushroom or stamella shroom or the stam bulb? Now these foods will have specific effects if you combine them with other foods. Just take note that you cannot combine them with other types of foods. For example, if you combine stam bulb with a mushroom, the effects will disappear and it will be a heart-based food. Like it will be an HP-based food. So there you go. And if you combine fish with any type of effect type materials or food, it will also apply that, but just remember you cannot mix both. For example, I want to make a mushroom with a fish. There you go. You will have a speed up and HP. So if you use this one, it will not only give you HP, but it'll give you a minute and 30 seconds of boosted speed or movement speed. If you combine a stamina mushroom with a apple, it will give you an energizing fruit mushroom and mix. This will recover your HP out and stamina. So as you're like running around, like you can see that my stamina is being consumed. There you go. As you can see, the circle is consumed. If I use this one, it will recover, and you can see how much amount it will recover. The more of the effect ingredients that you use, the longer and bigger the effect it can have. So for example, I have 3 stam bulbs, 2 apples, combine them, and you can see that it now recovers not only plenty of hearts, but also plenty of stamina recovery. Now, if I climb over here, if I run like this and jump, as you can see that my stamina got stuck. But if I consume food, yes, you can eat while climbing or flying. Don't forget that. And I think you can also eat while swimming. Now it will recover my HP, and thus I can continue and resume climbing. Just take note that it's a one-time thing, so you need to keep making more. And you have a limited meal slot or food slot for your tabs. Like, you can create at least 50 plus. But just make sure you don't, cook if you don't need to use them. The most preferable way in fighting enemies and cooking foods is to cook in the amount of HP that you have. So, for example, I only have 3 HP. So cooking for like 5 HPs like this or 5 hearts will be pretty much useless. So you'll be burning ingredients, and at the same time, you'll be overusing the food. So if you want, you can make just like 3 or 4 of these, and then you can get like 2 hearts or 3 hearts more, like that. It's still better than consuming 1 heart, to be honest. However, if you accidentally, like, if you're experimenting and like cook food and then they came out like with 5 hearts, you can just reserve them for something better. For example, if like, oh, I cooked way too much of these, you don't need to consume them. You can reserve them and use them as last resorts for healing. Excuse me. And then aside from that, you can also consume seared steak. Like, you can keep cooking seared steak, but that's gonna be much of a waste ingredients as well. Just take note that you can't hold cooked ingredients or cooked food anymore. If you toasted any of these, you can no longer put them in the pot to cook. And not to mention that, like, for example, if you want raw meat has like 1 HP. Hold that one, combine it with 2, and then cook them, and then you should have an energizing steamed meat. You can see that it has so much HP to give. But that's for advanced tutorials later on, or advanced like mechanics later on. As the further you get into the game, the more HP and stamina bars you will have, the more you'll get to tempted to explore scale mountains or higher heights and buildings and whatnot, fly, swim, and even glide towards further distances. The more these things will become pretty helpful and effective in a way. So for now, if you have minimal ingredients like stamina or sky mushrooms, you can make a number of them, like 3 of them, and then cook them, and then, just eat them. That's like the best way you can do to reserve heart recovering items. Cook as minimal as you can as well. You can cook like for an emergency of 5 or 6. Like, cook 6 of this sky shroom for reserves, just in case you fight enemies and you have problems and troubles. Just don't forget you can run away from fights, but if you are facing it head on and you feel like you're gonna, taking them out, then you can use HP recovery midway as well, which I'm gonna explain later. So after this one, where do we head to next? Going over here will net us to that big tree over there, and as you can see, this island over here, there's another burb over there that you can shoot down. It flew away, I scared it. and stam bulbs. Stam bulbs are also okay to mix with other ingredients that has effects if you want, or if you don't have any more of meat and stuff. So right now, let's just follow the stream over here. We are still gonna need to head to the direction. Okay, over here is another Zonaite charges. Most of these guys are only visible in the Sky Islands, so you don't need to worry about that. There's also these rush rooms over here that you can pick up using Ultrahand, or shoot them if you're too lazy to do either. Grab them and let go. Should be okay just to drop them. There you go. There you go. And like I mentioned, you can shoot them, but it will expand your arrow. I think you can pick it up. There you go. Yeah, you can pick up the arrow, so that's good. Rush rooms back then can't be tackled by like that. Like, you need to either shoot them or pick them up. So climbing towards will take a lot of time. So now let's head over here. Our target is directly right in front of us, but it's so close yet so far. Right now, there is a bunch of enemies here, and there is a locked chest. So there is a variety of items you can get. There's a rusty shield. Not that powerful, but pretty good as well. Now you can also select your shields. And if you look closely over here, we now have a variety of tabs, and only one tab is now missing. We have armor tabs, bows and arrows tabs. You can only have one type of arrow, by the way, but you can fuse other types of materials onto it. Somewhere down the line, I'll explain later. But you also have shield tabs, and of course the food tabs. This is the key item tabs. You can see all of the key items that you have here. Most of them cannot be used, but they can be turned off, which I'll also explain somewhere down the line. But right now, you can see that there's only limited stuff. Like, why do you only have limited stuff and you can't carry any more? For example, I can't carry the rusty sword anymore. That's because you only have limited slots. And somewhere down the line, you'll need to find a way to increase your slots by collecting Korok seeds, which also can be explained somewhere down the line. I will explain that later. We need to head to the Temple of Time, unlock all of the abilities that we need, and now, after that, you know, we can sweep Great Sky Island. So, for now, I'm gonna equip this weapon, and there's 3 of them. So, just be careful. The other one is still unaware that you're here. And like I said, locking on is still pretty important. As you can see, the weapon that I'm using is about to break. So, the best way to use it is to just throw it at them and then switch to your weapon. Just take note that during combat, you will need to be very fast about switching weapons as well. Because if you don't, then you'll fight with no weapons on hand. Like, if you're being overwhelmed by this, just make sure you can cover ground. You can run from them, get to a certain height, like this over here. They're gonna throw stuff at you. And aim, if you like. Oh, there you go. Ouch, that hurts. There you go. You can aim from a distance with them, I think. There you go. But the birds, they don't really let you lock on if you're hunting. And yeah, bows also break. So there's that. So now that they've dwindled down, there you go. You can now take them on. Just be wary, even your shields can break. Okay, it doesn't really take that long to break. Like, they're using really weak weapons. You'll encounter enemies that will have powerful weapons that can destroy your shield in 2 hits. So you have to be very careful. It doesn't give you enough room to basically protect yourself against like a more powerful enemy. So you have to be very cautious about like how to get upfront them and then fighting them. There you go. If there are too many of them, you can also crouch, shoot one of them down, and approach the other one. And then, like, you know, fight them on. I will show you a nifty There's one more. I'll show you a nifty tactic to fight them. Where's the other one? What is that? That's a Korok. There is one more. It didn't open. Oh, there's another one over here. Yeah. All right. So as another great example, yeah, enemies like these will be posted from time to time. Sometimes they will alert enemies toward you of your presence. So be very careful. You need to pan your surroundings as much as possible and then take them out. Don't forget to collect their stuff, but those things are not really like something that you need to gather at the early part of the game. Later down the line, they will be of significance, but you know, you'll get something a lot better and you'll find it somewhere else like a lot faster, like in a more better quantity. Your old wooden shield is damaged every time you bring up your shield. It'll say that. So collect the stuff over here. There you go. Alright, now that we have that, where do we go next? Should we go there? Well, you can technically go there to scan and stuff. You know, you're always free to explore, but like I mentioned, it is highly recommended that we completely get our abilities first to make exploration 10 times more easier. Oh look, there's a Burby. There's a lot of the stamina mushrooms and sky shrooms here, which is pretty great. Like I mentioned, you can attack these guys. There you go. It can still break your weapon, by the way. Anything that's being hit by your weapon can break. Is there anything in this tree? Oh, there's eggs. Cool. So bird eggs and other food materials can be added. Just take note of that. Now, where do we go? So we need to head straight over there. We need to make sure that we can get out of here and head to the Sky Island, which is the shrine right over there. Now, right now, you don't really have the sufficient tools to, you know, craft a material that can get you across large gaps and higher areas. But don't worry, we'll get there. Oh, there's a Korok over here. So this is a Korok backpacker. This is awful. Where's my friend? You can't see me? I am a Korok, one of the children of the forest. I was traveling with my friend, but we got separated. My friend is sending up a smoke signal. I can't wait to catch up. I'm so tired though, I can't move. Alright, so their friend is right over there, and you know what happens next? We will need to build. With the appropriate tools that we have and Ultrahand, we can now build ourselves a good lodge. As a base platform and, you know, of course... Oh, we're lacking some more. Now you need to be a bit resourceful. There's a tree over here. Just make sure, remember that wherever you're facing, that's where the tree falls. So if you're facing this way, your tree will fall that way. So don't do that. Face over here or over here. And then like drop it like that. There you go. And there's also a acorn. And of course a Koroks, which is a leaf-ish type of material that you can eat or turn into a fan. Oops. Sorry. You can basically see with the green dots there emitting where... Oh, sorry, with the red dots and the green gooey looking thing where it will attach. There you go. Then with that, since there's gonna be two people riding this gondola, like that, hook it over here, and there we go. Oh, it's moving on its own. So don't do that. Don't assemble that on the fly. We need our Korok friend to reach their location. You know, you can lift them up. Don't worry, they don't really like feel bad about it. They just want to get to their friend. But don't, you know, put them in a crucifix, I beg of you. They're nice people. They just want to get to their friend. Hop in? Okay. It's too high, but basically, you have to be pretty fast in some cases. Alright, hop in like that. There you go, and it automatically moves. It's kind of difficult at first. You need to be very fast, and you need to be up close and right next to the object that you're using. Now, you can disassemble our friend here by unsticking him, bring him to his Korok overlord, and drop him over there like that. Talk to them, and they will reward you. Now, you do get Korok seed. If you gather a bunch of them, you will never know what may happen. Korok seeds are required for expanding anything in your inventory, ranging from your shields, bows, and swords. More importantly, you know, swords. Now, you will need a number, and I am not joking. You need a lot of Korok seeds. Koroks can be found across the world. You can see them like right off the bat, but there are a variety of ways that they might be hiding into. So you'll need to look thoroughly, you know, in your surroundings to find a Korok seed. They are far apart from each other, but if we can find one more, I will basically showcase them. They come in a variety of things like puzzles, chasing down events, trials. They're not that difficult, but the newest addition to them is delivering Koroks and diving Koroks. So basically, if you dive, you can... Oh, actually, diving Koroks are the same, but there is a different one where you do a challenge where you need to dive from a sky island and then grab the Korok midway if you can. You know, that's actually a pretty challenging one. Now, let's use our gondola and transport right over here. So like I mentioned, you need to be very close to your platform so that as soon as it moves, you'll be able to grab. However, the other alternative is you can use wind to... Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. Just use this one. You can use wind, basically. You have the Korok wand with you. You can push yourself using the wind to let you get there. But I'm not going to do that because it's a bit of a hassle to assemble. And there you go. As soon as you get here, drop down. And we're getting really close to our location, aren't we? Now, let's move forward over here. There's another construct here that's pretty powerful. Well, not powerful, but, you know, there is a variety of way. Now, let me teach you a trick into knocking down enemies without getting spotted. Or basically, sneak striking. First and foremost, you'll need to be a certain distance from them. Most importantly, you need to be unseen. You need to be... Like, right now, the construct is not looking behind, so it can't see me. But if you're coming from in front of them, sometimes they will move around, sometimes they will circle or pan their surroundings. You can get spotted. But crouching kind of lowers your chance of being seen, and they will appear as question marks. And if that question mark fills up with red, they will turn into an exclamation point. They will be alerted like that, you know, as, you know, I took my time. But there's a way. Let's just run away from him. They will basically chase you down too, so be very careful. If they get out of your range, they will wonder where you are and start searching, you know. Like that. So you can see that the question mark is them wondering where we are right now, right? And after a while, they will start to go back to their return point. Teleporting can also help mitigate that if that is a problem. But you need to be completely unseen, like I mentioned before. That was completely scuffed as well. So perform a sneak strike. Crouch first. It's the most important thing. Depends on the enemy who you're fighting. Sometimes noise isn't really a factor, but most of the time it is, especially if they're sleeping. Get really nice and cozy, and once the sneak strike appears, hit Y. Voila, they're gone. They're dead. Even if you use a stone axe. But it is preferred to use a powerful weapon, because if you're fighting against a really tanky enemy, there's gonna be like a variety of enemies there that will have more HP. And if you use your weakest weapon, you will only deal a preemptive attack. So you will only be able to deal a small amount of damage. And then they will wake up. They will be stunned for a while, wake up, and then start to attack you. So if you have a powerful weapon, I do recommend using that to sneak strike, as they can floor the enemies or like wipe them out initially. So now we have a new weapon called a two-handed thick stick. A thick bat cut from a large tree. It is not the sturdiest weapon, but it's heavy and does a bit of power damage behind it. Now we have three types of weapon in our hands. We have swords, we have two-handed swords, and then we also have spears. Two-handed swords or clubs are basically the same. Most two-handed weapons are either clubs or rock weapons. They are pretty powerful weapons, but they're slow, and you're pretty much vulnerable. So, you know, you're open for damage. Like if you're fighting multiple ones and some of them are using bows and arrows, you can get hit from afar while trying to attack. Unlike with a sword and shield combination, if you're using a one-hand sword or one-hand shield, you will always have your shield available when you're locking in. If you are locking in with a sword, you won't be able to, like, this is basically locking on with a two-handed sword. You can see that he can't use his shield, right? But don't worry, there's also other ways to mitigate that. In a second, I will showcase how to use two-handed swords alongside with the other weapons as well. Now, spears are basically the same. If you are using a spear as a two-handed weapon, you can't really use shields as well. Any type of two-handed weapons will basically do that. Now, for two-handed weapons, as you can see here, it's very slow to attack. It will give them a chance to attack like that as well. So it's very slow acting. You have to be very careful when you swing and when you want it to swing, because if you don't, you will get attacked and take damage. You will leave yourself completely open, and that will be a problem. So right now, let's progress forward. What we need to do is reach the other side of the island there. We're almost close to our location. And there's another area over here that you can fully explore. But that's where we came from, you know. You don't need to go back over there right now. What we need to do is make a raft that can deliver us on the other side. And thank God... Okay, here we go again. Always get me when I'm jumping. There is a jumping attack that can actually have a area of effect, which is pretty neat. Before I forget, you have charge attacks and you have jumping attacks as well. The higher you are from the jumping attack, the more the radius of the jump damage will do. For example, here you can see that's very big, right? Compared to just the normal one. There you go. Take note that any of these attacks can severely damage your weapon. Now for the charge attacks, there's different charge attacks for each weapon. If you're using two-handed weapon, you can do a whirlwind attack. Now it can consume a lot of stamina, but here's a trick. If you do a whirlwind attack, it can hit a lot of enemies along the way, and then it will do a very huge damage at the very end, or like earth slam type of attack, which is pretty helpful if you're dealing with a number of enemies. Now the other one is when you're using a weapon. So if you're using a one-hand weapon, you can see that I'm attacking neatly. Oops. That's a script. There you go. And if you charge attack, you can see that there is 3 types of charge attack for a normal one-handed weapon. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. And now, what's the difference? If you are holding it a lot longer, it will cover a bigger radius. So if you're charging really slow, it will cover a small radius. If you charge second, it will cover a slightly bigger radius. And if you cover full, I can't because my HP is my stamina is really low. If you cover full, it will do a full bigger radius of a swing. There you go. Basically, you need to utilize your stamina more properly because enemies are furiously attacking you, and you need to charge it up, and it takes a while. Just a side note that the charge attacks for spears are also completely different. It's thrusting attacks, and the longer you hold, the more thrust it does. But if we find a another spear, I will basically showcase you. So right now we also have a two-handed stone axe. But what does it do? basically the same, except, you know, it makes it a lot less harder for you to break down trees. So right now we're gonna make a raft, because we haven't, it's a requirement now. There you go. Sails like these cannot really be built. I don't know if you can find a fabric lying around that you can use. But there you go. Let me pick up the Koroks. And right now, it is preferable to land it somewhere you can easily hop onto it, you know. Just put it over here. Jump onto it. Just be careful. The wind, wherever it is facing, it will push your sail immediately right off where it is. And sometimes if you are using a frond, it will basically let you push your raft towards the where you're facing. So now that I taught you the basics about combat, and especially with arrows and the techniques that it has, I'm now gonna fast forward to a lot of things in between. I'm gonna make sure that we can progress a bit faster from here. Like I mentioned, we do need to get to the location. We need to get you off the Sky Island so that you can, you know, explore Hyrule, which is gonna be like much more vast and much more powerful. But for the meantime, this should be okay for now. Alright. Once you hop off, let's immediately head over here. Okay, like I mentioned, you can use your one-handed weapon to attack. There you go. Now, there's also jumping attacks, like I mentioned like earlier, right? Okay. There's a... You can see that there is a construct right over there. Quite distant, but you can shoot it down. You'll need to analyze the arch that you need to do, but you don't need to compensate for wind at all. What you need to make sure is that you are able to shoot them down and land the shots. So we've reached our second shrine, which is gonna be really important for, you know, combining weapons and expanding upon weapons, I believe. I'm gonna skip here. Alright, so now we will get the next part of our abilities. I'm sorry, I took a break. We will now get the weapon fusion? Fuse ability. Attach something to an equipped weapon or shield to enhance it. You can undo the fusion, but it will destroy whatever has been attached. This is a fuse ability. Okay, I'll just explain it. Thank you, Rauru. Your hair is really, really fluffy and shiny. Alright, press and hold and then select ability. So now you have two abilities. You have fuse and you have Ultrahand. Now you can grab things or most things with Ultrahand, including weapons on the ground, materials, items, and of course like other construction parts, boulders even in the world. Koroks, as soon as you talk to them and if they really require the delivery. But now we have a different ability called the fuse. So fusing is a very neat ability for us, as we can now combine items with whatever we have. So you can see that this wall is completely breakable, but using normal means it will not work, right? But if you hit L and then press L, and then you can see that you can combine it either on your shield for ZL and then Y for your thick stick or whatever weapon you have equipped. Hit the button and now it turns into a boulder hammer. Now you can use it to break down walls. Well, only breakable walls because it doesn't really destroy, you know, natural walls. But yeah, I'm gonna make space for our two-handed Rusty Claymore, which is still rusty, but like I mentioned, fusing will give you a great advantage in combat, and it is the game changer. And I believe this is what you need to have. Break these things to find treasure chests because it's gonna give us some stuff. What do you have? Arrows, nice. There you go. Not to mention, fusing also extends your weapon's durability. Like you saw earlier, my thick stick was about to break. Now, it's good as new. Well, not good as new, like brand new, but it's there. So now we're also gonna be having a different ability, or sorry, not ability, but a different type of fusing called attachments. A fruit that generates heat when struck. Cook correctly, its heating process improve blood flow and stimulate muscles to raise attack power in high temperatures. Fire fruit basically gives you the ability to turn it into hold on. Yeah, so keep the bow drawn by pressing a ZR and then press up and hold and then right to select. You need to be fast with these ones if you're fighting an enemy in between, but don't worry, time freezes if you are selecting a material to fuse. So right now we need the fire fruit, and it's set to type. As you can see, it's at the very end, but if you press Y to sort, you can check out the materials you can use for fusing with the attack power category. So right now, Amber is the most powerful weapon to attach to a weapon. Or sorry, the most powerful material to attach to a weapon based on its attack power. More powerful than the Soldier Construct Horn or the Zonaite Charge. And more powerful than the apple. So right now, you select the fire fruit, let go of the up. It will fuse to the arrow, as you can see. You can also cancel out by not pressing the ZR. Do not press the ZR, it will let go of the fire arrow, but you can cancel out by pressing B. There you go. And then you can still hold back and it will still have the fire arrow ready. So shoot either the leaves or the wood, because both will be flammable. And there you go. That's how you fuse materials to your bow. But there's a nifty thing. It's like a niftier thing that you can do. Alright, we're gonna be getting a small key. I was not expecting that. Actually, I think you can actually combine with the treasure chest as well. Oh no, you can't. I thought you can combine. That would be really funny. But yeah, not to mention you can combine fruits as well to make it more durable and stuff like that. For example, right now we can fuse this boulder with a wooden stick. There you go. So now we have 6 damage, and you can see that this looks really funny. It has a big boulder at the very end of the weapon. But it's so ugly. What the heck is that, man? Don't worry, enemies beyond the scope of Great Sky Island will give you more better weapons to fuse and more powerful ones as well. So keep your eye on the enemies that you're fighting. It can be really, really tricky. But at the same time, I'm sure that you'll find a good way to... Oh, this is a good one. You'll find a way to fuse items and weapons to fight enemies. So right now, that enemy is just waiting for us to attack. It's gonna shoot us down. Yeah, there we go. If you go over here, you'll see a bunch of items that you can fuse as well. You can drop this one for the meantime and drop one of the swords. So you can fuse a thorn to your weapon. This one, or spikes. Now the damage is 11, that's a good one. And you can grab this one, long stick, and then fuse it with this one. And stop shooting me, please. Alright. Another thing I'd like to showcase is that if you are jumping and then you aim, you can slow down time like the Matrix and then shoot the enemy. And do it again. Just take note that every shot you do, and the longer you stay in midair, it consumes stamina. But you can utilize that, for example, if you're falling and then hit the ZR, you can aim. But then again, it will consume stamina, so be very careful. Alright, so right now, let's take this guy down. Oh, another thing is that, yeah, you can burn the surroundings. There you go. He'll burn out. He can also get his bow to burn. And get his bow. There you go. If he's using a wooden material, it can catch on fire and it can become a problem. So you have to be very careful with that one too. Even your arrows can catch fire, but that's not a problem. You don't get burned from it. But it can destroy the stick or whatever wooden material you have. For example, if my shield gets on fire, then my shield will burn and dissipate. So right now, we did pick up a material called the Soldier Construct. This Captain Construct horn is a wavy double-edged blade-like horn. It's formidable when it comes to slashing. Attach it to a weapon to increase its power. Now, let's see. Do you think it's really good? So right now we have a weapon that does 11 damage, a weapon that does 7 damage, and a spear that has 7 damage as well. What if we fuse it to a rusty broadsword that has 5 damage? Boom! It becomes 10 damage. And also, look at that. It looks like a Chris. Like the dagger Chris. But yeah, you can see that it now has fused to my weapon. You can now basically attack enemies with better damage. And yeah, that's not all. There is much more into fusing. But let's get out of here first because it's a really constricted area. There you go. After that, you get over here, activate this one, and it should give you another light blessing. So there's only one more shrine to go, and I believe that you were about to head to this location. I am terribly sorry if it is pretty long, but I wanted to discuss the minute details down to the bone because I feel like Breath of the Wild basically opened up the practice range while this one throws you into, unranked unranked gameplay. So it becomes really tedious and overwhelming to the Grey Sky Island because of how vast the open area is. But I will explain to you in great detail as much as I can, and you can just skim if you like to which parts, and I will tag them. Link. I came because there's something I failed to give you, which is... Oh, the battery. Alright, so with the batteries, a gift from Zonai Construct designed to be worn on a belt, it can power Zonai devices. There will be Zonai devices somewhere down the line that you will need to use, and it will consume battery for your self purposes. But like I mentioned, we will get to that. Required to make use of the tools known as Zonai devices cannot demonstrate its utility because there are Zonai devices right here. Okay, however, I have associates on the other side of that cave system. They can teach you how to use this. Yes, because they're completely constricted. I hope that the energy cell provided is useful to you. Alright, there you go. There is also a breakable wall over here. Don't forget to break that. Go. Grab whatever is in the chest. And there you go, you have 5 more arrows. Like I said, you can explore if you like, but again, the purpose is to get the abilities that you need so that you can fully explore the world. It is highly recommended to grab everything as fast as you can so that when you're exploring, you're pretty much like free to go, like you don't have to worry. Alright, now this is another tutorial that I wanted to point out as well. I wanted to make sure that you understand how fusing works. So there is a variety of weapons that you can fuse, right? But you can fuse weapons on top of weapons. Yes, sir. So right now you are using a wooden stick. And this is a thick stick, which is a 2-hand weapon. I can now fuse it with mine. And it becomes a 1-hand 2-sword. No, 1-hand 2-stick. Basically, it just combines your normal broadsword with the... Oh, sorry. Normal wooden stick with the thick stick or the 2-handed stick. And turns into a 1-handed 2-stick, right? The damage is there, but without the proper like materials fused with it, it still becomes a very delicate material. Like it can still be destroyed really quickly. If you're fusing just random stuff in the world, it can be combined, but their durabilities will be as flimsy as it can be. Like it won't be that durable as you hope, unless you're actually using a weapon or a base weapon that has like better durability. Fused weapons on top of each other can break, but it will break the top weapon first. Like the weapon that is fused on top of the stick, like the thick stick that I fused, like as you can see over here, that one will break first. Whatever you're swinging at the very end of that weapon first is the one that breaks first. And now that we can fuse a lot of things, you can also fuse stone, rock, and also the slug if you want to. But right now, here's a funny thing that you can do. You can also fuse offensive weapons or offensive materials to your shield. And what does that do? It can now be an attack shield. But the problem is, it will only give you a small amount of damage, and it doesn't really offer a defensive capabilities. Now, you can see there's actually 2 enemies right over there. If you want to join them, you can like do this jumping thing, aim, take your time when aiming, don't worry about it, and then there you go. You can take out both without actually being close to them. And as a demonstration, this is how your shield weapon works now. If you hold the fucking ass, I was trying to demonstrate. Nevertheless, there's still something else. There you go. Oh no, it became a defensive weapon. Fuck. But you can actually like attack enemies with your shield by parrying them. So there you go. You can see that they're taking damage, and I'm just like parrying them like this. There you go. And now with my weapon one hand that's long, I can just like keep smacking them from a distance without having to worry about getting close. There you go. That's one of the weapon fusing techniques that is available to you and your ability. But wait bit, like what if I want a longer weapon? What if I want a longer weapon? So right now you have a stick, right? What if I told you you can also turn that into a much longer stick? And everyone's dream. Alright, now you have a longer stick. There you go. So now, we don't have to worry about distance, and that guy is using something very bizarre. But, then again, I wanted to demonstrate how funny the longer stick is. Like, you don't need to be close. There you go. So that's one of the prime features of the stick. But the problem is you can't really combine fused materials to another material. Like, for example, oh, he burned the, there you go. You can see that he burned the sticks. One ass. You can see that if I have a fused material, or even if I have like a normal material, it won't let me fuse fused material already. If a material has been fused, it will no longer let me fuse them anymore. So if you're worried about fighting multiple enemies, use longer sticks. That will basically net you a weapon. Be careful when you're next to fire. You can see the temperature in your lower left is increasing. If you're way too close to one, it will burn you, like right like that, unbearable heat. So don't do that. So there you go. Now, you have very good access to good weapons, but here's another nifty thing. You have a shield, right? Where's the shield? Oh my god, it died. If you have a shield, you can also do this with your shields. With a board and now with a shield, now you have a longer, wider shield. Just take note that whatever material you are fusing to your weapons or shield, that will be the durability you will have. So there we go. Let's grab this one. I really don't know whose dragon that is. I'm pretty sure that's Farosh. We have a Soldier Reaper, so this one is already fused. We do have better weapons than that one. I'm gonna drop this two-hand stone axe. And there we go. Let's get out of here. The thing is, you need to be selective of what you want to keep, but you don't need to keep fusing weapons. The most recommended thing I could say to you is that keep at least 1 or 2 blank weapons, like a standard weapon, like a sword or a stick. And then if you find a good material to fuse it with, like the construct that I mentioned, like the amber and or soldier construct horn, then you can drop those on the ground and then start fusing with them if you like. However, like I mentioned, like you can't fuse anymore if you already have a fuse material, so it's okay. If you don't want to use that, then that's fine. Oh, fuck. You can pick that up. Alright. So right now, I'm trying my best to speed this up. But don't worry, we're already halfway through the tutorials and stuff. Alright, here it is. Alright, so let's go through here. Last time, Katie asked me if you were running into troubles. This was the cave that I was mentioning. We also have Brightblooms over here, which is capable of lighting the area up. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to use your bows and arrows with Brightbloom seeds. I'll show you in a while. Oh, there's also rock deposits like this, so I do recommend using your two-hand boulders to destroy them rather than your swords or weapons, as it can deteriorate your weapon twice as fast. So right now we also have a Bubbul frog, which is pretty easy to shoot. Now, we do have the key swing, right? So if you look closely, the key swings or key's eyeballs. It doesn't explain. Sorry. The key's eyeballs, orbs that scan their surroundings, take advantage of their glaring awareness and attach one to an arrow to grant a homing quality to the arrow. Basically, if you attach this to your bow, or arrow, sorry. If you attach this to your arrow, it will basically home to the target that you're pointing at. So for example, if I'm looking over here and the target is over there, it will just home to that. Easy. That should make things a lot better for you when you're fighting, you know, very tall enemies or enemies that are like really enormous or powerful. If you're having a hard time aiming, you can just use the key's eyeballs to make sure that you can land the shots more appropriately. And now, as you can see, it also destroyed my fuse weapon. Oh my god, get out of my face, please. There you go. Now, I have a blank weapon here. I can attach a either an amber to it or a construct, and then just use it with fuse. Now it is a spear, soldier spear, with you know, at the very end. Okay. Use this to destroy boulders as I demonstrated before. Use this again to destroy that. You can see that there's a lot of rocks here, indicating that you can grab a lot of things. There you go. Okay. Now then, there's a giant Brightbloom seeds. They're just bigger versions and like more brighter. Covers a lot more rages. We have flint. I'll explain those later as well. Now we have Arcade Tunic, the old-fashioned upper body wear that's got some holes, but the soft cloth feels good to the touch and hard to keep wrinkle-free. Okay, now this is the last time where I heard that you were getting stuck. Now all of these constructs are here trying to get past to the other side because their sleep time is overdue. You can't really use those, but you can use the materials over here to fuse yourself, and then there's another stuff over here that you can explore. But let's check this one out first. there's gonna be an enemy at the very end of it if I remember correctly. So the best way for you to do this is to just like move this over here. There we go. Set this a bit aside. You can climb up on it if you like. Just make sure that you can come back to it because you're gonna need it. Or you can climb that like tree over there. Tree root and branch if you like. There you go. Let me just make sure that this is right over here. There you go. That was very risky. Do not do that. There you go. Make sure that we have all of the appropriate spacings in between. You can fuse them together if you like to turn it into an actual bridge, but this is the best way to go. And as you can see, it's a bit high, but if you drop down here... Oh, it's way too high. And this is what I mean by like just waiting for all of the abilities before you can get back here. This guy is pretty powerful, so I do recommend fighting him at a good distance. He can basically hit you, can kill you in 2 hits. So if you can shoot him down, so there you go. So right now, this area cannot be approached or reached, unfortunately. So we'll have to come back over here. But wait, how do we come back over here? It's too far, and this one is too hot. Well, there is still a way. You can either climb that tree root over here to get to the very top. There is a way for you to like get breaks in between so that you don't consume your stamina. Or if you already made some stamina mushrooms or like stam shrooms or stamina mushrooms foods, then you can basically just consume that midway and recover. But what I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna climb this tree, gain a bit of height, get a bit closer over here carefully. I said carefully. Actually, you know what? I'm making it harder for myself. I am just gonna chop this tree down. This is gonna be a good tutorial for you to, make use of, be resourceful. Attach that fucking thing over here, and now you can put that thing down. There you go. Oh, and not to mention, if that's still a problem for you, just attach it over here. Climb the thing, and there you go. Alright, and now bring this thing down. See? Being a bit resourceful, instead of like making it hard for you. Why was I even climbing that? I'm so stupid. Oh wait, shit. Katie's probably gonna be reading. Don't tell her I said that. Katie will probably view this video. Alright. Alright, no, okay, so this time, I will showcase you what you need to do to get past over there. I'm pretty sure that you already have an idea. We'll need to get past there without using sails and using the Zonai devices. And as you can see, this Zonai device is called a fan. And yeah, they work pretty well if you hit them, but as soon as you hit them, they will be powered straight from your battery. If you don't have any battery, then it won't work. Alright, so now we can put it over here. Just make sure you put it on the water first because it won't work if you don't put it on water. And now... Ta-da! All we need to do is get to the other side and we should be good to go. Oh, come on. Right now, you don't really have any control from this ones, but sooner or later, you will. You will encounter Zonai devices that will get you control of these things. Alright, so next stop is actually being able to ignite fire. This is pretty simple. All you need to do is use flint or any... If you already have a way to light the fire. So the best way to do is to use flint. You can see that there's flint on the ground. So if there's flint on the ground or drop your flint and then like hit it, there you go, you have fire. Every time you hit anything that has a flint, especially wood, for example, I'm gonna move this flint over here. There you go. It destroyed it instead of lighting it on fire. But yeah, it will basically light it on fire. So let's move forward then. We'll need to get the next ability after that one. There's a lot more stuff that we need to do. There's also something over here that you can use, but like I mentioned, we will need to take our time to get all of our abilities first, and that will make it a lot easier for us to explore the Great Sky Island along with Hyrule itself. And the depths too, because the depths is gonna be really crazy. It's basically level 5 area exploration. So now that I have, like, I can demonstrate this one as well. It's very long. So you don't need, it doesn't need to be a spear, but you can use a variety of fuses as long as it's single and one by one. Like, one by one materials, meaning a material that hasn't been fused to anything else, and a weapon that has no fused material on top of it is gonna work well. Alright, so now we're here. This is gonna be the next area. You can see that there's a bunch of them there. We can ignite this area over here for fire if you ever wanted to do so. Just a quick note that you need to have something that can ignite it, okay? Because if it's not, like, you know, I was hitting it with a wood, it doesn't work. Also, weapons that has fire on them actually increases damage as well. So if I have fire here, oh no, doesn't want that. Add fire on this one, I think. There you go. Fire adds that. Be careful of some of the Zonaite constructions. Sometimes you can see how powerful they are. Over here, there you go. 2 hits, easy. This one, as you can see that he has like more HP, and he has a very abnormal type of weapon. There you go. There you go, Board Guster. And as you can see, my weapon is still intact. Like, the base weapon that I'm holding is still intact. The only thing that got destroyed was the weapon that was fused to it. So that can happen. If you fuse 2 weapons, the weapon that was attached is gonna be the one that destroyed. Also, as you can see, there is a Board Guster here. If I try to fuse with it... Oh, it doesn't work. Why did I combine it with an arrow? So yeah, it doesn't let me combine it with the Board Guster. It wants me to combine with the Construct Horn. So there you go. Now, the other thing that I like to point out is that be careful when fusing materials. If you make a mistake, you'll have to destroy that materials. There is a specific place in Hyrule where you can get those removed instead of destroyed, but it's still pretty far in the line. So we'll tackle that later. There you go. As soon as that's destroyed, we'll head on out of here. We have very good weapons as well. So if you if you can see over here, we have a minecart alongside with a couple of fans, and you know what'll happen next, right? Of course, why not take advantage of the minecart? Nothing bad will happen inside, right? Touch that. Grab your turbine or wind Zonai device. Attach one of these here. And if you want to go crazy, you can attach 2, actually. Like, you just, like, make it 2 of them, right? Why stop 1 when you can have 2? Alright, attach it over here. It's not even aligned. Okay, you're watching Disney Channel. Alright. Here. Just a reminder that it will consume your energies. And, oh, we're entering a dark mine. What are you gonna do about that? Alright, so here's the funny part and wonderful part about this one as well. Okay, so Brightblooms basically give you light. And that's what it looks like when it's activated. There you go. So now, it's pretty dark over there, right? So here's the trick. If you want it to be brighter, you can just aim with your bow, attach a Brightbloom on top of it, over here, and shoot anywhere, you know? It's fine. There you go, it's now bright. However, it consumes arrows. Now, the alternate way is to basically aim with your weapon, hold R, select a material by pressing D-pad up, and then let go. Now you're holding the Brightbloom, and throw it anywhere you like. Holy shit, that's a Bubbul frog. Headshot. There you go. And now you have a Brightbloom, and you repeat that so that you don't consume arrows and just consume the Brightbloom. The difference is that throwing them is basically short range versus long range. Alright, now we're getting Zonaite materials. Every place in the depths will have a Zonaite deposit. But if you're in if you're in Hyrule, I almost said Skyrim. If you're in Hyrule, you basically get normal items like ores, amber opals, and stuff like that. Also, Bubbul frogs will be explained somewhere down the line. Just keep collecting them if you ever encounter them in caves. They're pretty important for redeeming items later down the line. You'll encounter the quest line, and I don't want to spoil you about that regarding. Alright, just throw it in the roof. Or ceiling, not roof, sorry. There you go, it's much more brighter. And then do it again. So the only problem with throwing them is that you have really short range compared to shooting the arrows. If you are in the depths, it is preferred to use arrows to cover more distance and range because it's too short and you might be wasting a couple of Brightbloom seeds. A note as well, you need to keep collecting a lot of Brightbloom seeds because you're gonna be spending a hefty amount of them in the lines in the depths, I believe. So Zonaite is basically a material needed to upgrade your batteries somewhere down the line, or get batteries. So this guy will explain them to you. I'm gonna skip that. But basically, if you process your Zonaite and you have like enough Zonaites to process, it will give you Zonaite charges and crystallized Zonaites. So these ones are the ones that you need to exchange for your Zonaite. How many for per one charge is equivalent to 3, and 90 Zonaite for 1 battery charge. So no, 3 battery charge, I think 30 Zonaite. But yeah, I do encourage you to collect them if wherever you are, if you ever see them. It's pretty much good to enhance your battery charges. The more charge you have, I'm gonna take that, thank you. Yes, my behavior is a threat, be warned. So there you go. It will basically help you with your adventure somewhere down the line. You will get a much more increased battery charge, and that in turn will get you more time to, you know, use your Zonaite devices. So I can't really exchange any of those right now as I have a few of them. So let's make another one of the turbocharged minecarts. I'm sorry, I just need the capsules. Right. There you go. Oh, fuck. Sorry. I still get confused about like which tabs to select. Okay. So yeah, you can quickly take out materials like this way by hitting up. And then of course changing it to Zonaite devices or types because it's part of the categories. And there you go. Just make sure that your Zonaite devices are pointing properly. Like, if you see the back of the wind fan like this, then that means it's facing that way. If you're looking at the fan, it's facing against you. If you're looking at the back of the fan, then it's facing at the back, like, you know, rear. Alright, now, go! My people need me! We are gonna be exploring a very, temperature-ridden part of the Grey Sky Island, but we are making good progress, and I hope that you are gonna be making good progress as well. I'm hoping that this video is explaining it to you properly, and that is giving you good results. Alright, so basically the time bell wakes them up and puts them to sleep and stuff like that. It informs them that it's nighttime and it's daytime and stuff like that. Right, where do we go? There's 2 areas where we can head to, here, or we can go through there to get to the very top. Alright. Oh, they need to reach their friends. So what do? We're gonna need to help them reach their friend, of course. So there is also a Zonai dispenser over here, or Zonai device dispenser. These dispensers allow you to give Zonaite devices that you need for your journey along the way. Like they come in packages, so if you can't really carry these around with you and they disappear, like you can't lug them around like this. So with the Zonai capsule, you can put them in your pocket and then basically use them in the field as you go. So for example, like I did earlier with the 3 fans. But these dispensers are available throughout Hyrule, both ground and skies, so that you can actually like redeem all of them. If you put 5 Zonaite charges, it can give you a whopping amount. There you go. And there's a variety of them. You can also have a portable pot which you can cook your food in. And we also have the flame emitter one. So the flame emitter one is pretty cool. Now, before we do anything else, I'm gonna drop 5 more, because we'll need a lot. Now, you don't need to overcharge yourself. You don't need to consume all of to get all of the dispensers. It's all up to you what you want or what you need. For example, if you need just fans, then just try to drop 5. See if you can get more fans. And if not, then you can drop another 5 in. But be careful, because the Zonaite charges like these are can only be found from from soldier constructs, and they can only be traded if you have enough Zonaite, which I don't prefer, because gathering them is a lot easier. And just put all of your Zonaite into battery charges. So collect as much Zonaite as you can and just like use them or convert them for Zonaite charges. Now that place is explorable, but like I mentioned, we'll ignore that for now. But we will help our friend get there. So now we do have here. I'm just gonna put that there just in case. Hello. They're gonna be on the far side, so we'll need to bring him there. Now, this is the shortcut that I chose and moved with, but we still have other places to access. And over here, now he's with us. Right. Sorry. Don't worry, they can't be burnt or hit, but please promise me you're not gonna burn these guys or crucify them. Alright, this is gonna be moving a bit, but here we go. Go. Now talk to them. Oh, there we go. We got 2. I think I'm gonna stop at the part where you need to, like, we can get all of the abilities. That way I won't spoil some stuff for you. Alright, so now we do have a bit of a problem, as you can see. If I took that path, there is a gap in between, and that will cause our minecart to fall down, right? What do we do? Well, there is still a solution to it, as you can see. What do you think it would be? It's all up to you, but what I will be doing is I'm gonna put this over here. And combine them together. There you go. Oh, there's a stuff. I forgot to check that stuff. Sorry. There's a chest over here that you can grab, because I got distracted with like grabbing the boxes and then like moved away. So you have to be very aware of your surroundings. Oh, get another Zonaite over there. Basically, you can literally fuse anything, like apples to your weapons if you like, but that won't yield that much. Alright, attach it over here. And what do you think? Can we get past the problem? Maybe not. But we'll find out. Yeah, that didn't work. Goodbye. If you die, I'm pretty sure it'll reset. There you go. And it also takes an HP from you. Oh, well, that was pretty far. Alright. I was hoping it would work, but I guess it wasn't that much. But don't worry, I still have plenty of ideas in my brain. I know that it's supposed to like make use of the hook there, as you saw, but I tried to do something else. You know, it's really fun to experiment, and that's why this game will probably eat up a lot of hours, so be very careful. Okay, I attach it to the wall. All right. There you go. So 2 of them will make us move forward. You can see that my battery is being drained. And like I mentioned, the stuff that I was using is already gone. Alright. I'm pretty sure you will be asking, like, why don't we fuse something that has something to do with the hook, right? Something that will help us get past with the hook. But, check this out. Check this out, okay? This is just something that like I stupidly do sometimes when I playing Tears of the Kingdom. I experiment with whatever I can get my hands on, and that's like the best part of it. Can't reach it. The Ultrahand's reach is pretty short. Get over here. Now we will try to make a train. So if you've already seen what I'm trying to do earlier, the reason why it didn't work was because it was too short. I didn't imagine that it will not work like that. But now this is train V2. There you go. Now, you might be wondering, but is this really gonna work? Because I've seen you try some stupid stuff. Don't worry. Believe me, I'm an engineer. What the fuck was that? Okay. Okay. You know, okay. I was really hoping it would work. Here's the real deal, actually. Like, this is how you actually do it. I think I'm just getting a... If you have a brighter idea of how to get there, then yeah, I prefer that way. But for me, this is the only thing I can think of. Is to hook yourself onto the other side. I was hoping that it runs through it, basically. Like, what happens is that it runs through it. Instead of actually, like, bypassing it. It becomes the problem. Alright, I'm gonna need to attach one of these to the hook. Not like that. Just be careful, like, where they're facing, because that's gonna be the direction they're gonna be blowing the stuff out of. Oh, that's actually gonna work too. Oh, shit. That's what I mean. Alright, so instead of actually putting it here, let's put it down here, because the hook on the other side is broken. And drop down. That works too. There you go. No problems. I was trying too hard. Okay. Don't worry, it'll happen. That happens. Alright, now that we have everything, we need to go over here as well. There we go, portable pot. And remember to take the Zonaite charges over here. Okay, now that we've hit the end of it, you can see that there's gaps in between, and now we need to head back. If you can remember, we needed to get over there. So you can just dive over here if you like. There you go. Pretty cool. Grab the fishes if you like too. You know, it's pretty healthy to grab fishes. Fishes are healthy and good. Go through the dungeon over here, preferable. Oh, sorry, the cave over here. What's in here? I don't recommend fighting that, but you can go over there later if you have everything. It's a pretty challenging boss fight, but go through here first. As you can see, there are chilies over here. Yes, there are spicy chilies. Sorry, spicy pepper, because they're not chilies. Chilies. Okay. But it's gonna be cold outside. How do I mitigate cold temperature? It's easy. All you need to do is make sure that you have chili. Sorry, spicy pepper. And hold 3 of them, or 4 of them, and then mix it with raw meat. Or any type of other food or fruits. Now you will have a spicy pepper steak. Now you have cold resistance for 10 fucking minutes. Okay, so what does it do? Basically, if you have spicy pepper, which according to the info, is it can create dishes that will raise your body temperature and help you withstand cold, which is really great. But take note that it can only withstand a certain amount of cold. You will need to resort into a higher level of cold temperature resistance, so that you can go to higher and colder areas, because this area is pretty brief. Like right now the temperature is pretty normal. Caves are technically warm, if I remember correctly. I've never been to a cave, so don't ask me. There you go, climb up over here, and as soon as your foot steps outside, freezing. There you go. And you can see that Link is actually we're not wearing his fucking outfit. I'm sorry. Now, if you consume this, you can see that my temperature has mitigated and we can roam around. Right, we'll go over there. As you can see, there's a puzzle there that we can do. So another example of the Korok is this one. You can find a lot of these around the world. They're not difficult, but they are world puzzles. They're pretty fun, you know. It's a brain teaser. And as you can see, you can just combine it to turn it into a hollow box. If I can get this fucking thing right. There you go, and then jump it over there. Voila! And now you have your Korok. Just be aware that you can't really use Korok seeds right now. You will need to be in Hyrule to do that. You need to be in Hyrule. The bell has rung. That means it's already 7 AM. Okay, we have 10 minutes to get to our shrine, which is right over there. So we need to move as fast as possible. Now, once you've fully explored the area and managed to get everything, you are free to explore. Keep in mind, all of the abilities that you have will basically help you with, you know, fighting enemies and surviving the harshness of, you know, Hyrule. I was about to say Skyrim. Alright, so fighting these guys, as you can see, I have the boarded shield. So there's still advanced combat mechanics that I wanted to show. Like, for example, if you parry in the right moment, which I'm pretty bad at, that will basically let you there you go. If you parry or jump away perfectly, you can do a flurry rush that can make things a lot more easier for you in combat terms. That can basically leave the enemy open for a couple of seconds and for you to be able to deal damage. If your weapon breaks halfway through, that's okay. You'll be able to, if you're fast enough, you'll be able to switch to a different weapon and continue halfway through with the flurry rush, if I'm correct. Now, let's proceed. Okay, there's another construct over there. This is the right path to take. Just take note, there is an enemy over there. So, I forgot to mention that we do have Zonaite devices, right? So we do have the flame emitter Zonaite device. You can see over here. Now, these Zonaite devices can also be attached to anything, including your weapons and or your shield. So right now I have it attached to my weapon, and let's demonstrate over here. Oh, they will demonstrate for us. If you're using it on ice, if you use fire on ice, then they will die immediately. Just take note of that. And now, we have white choo-choo jellies. Uh-oh. And this enemy's annoying. You can attach the white choo-choo jelly to your bow. And aim. Freeze him. Go to the back. And attack with your flame with a club. There you go. And you can burn him. Of course, you can still just throw the choo-choo jellies at them. And there you go. Then you can get a free weapon called the Flame Emitter Club. Just drop this Reaper weapon. There you go. Now you have 2 Flame Emitter Clubs. But what does the Flame Emitter Club do aside from just like heating things up? Later down the line, you will find a variety of ice frozen enemies. They're basically like frozen in the area. So all you need to do is defrost them. And you should be okay. You know? Okay, now we also come towards our next fabulous weapon, the Bomb Flower. If you actually hit them or shoot with them attached, they basically give you an explosive effect. I will showcase that in a second. Oh my god, this video has taken 3 hours now, god damn. Alright, just grab them. And now you can see there's a like right in front of us. Don't be afraid. It's just a weakling. If you get too close, it'll show its weak point. Smack it, and now it's confused. Attack it several numbers of times to get it killed. It takes a while, but they're not that powerful. They can eat you though, so don't get eaten. If you ever get eaten by them, they will basically, you know, chew you out. And then just keep your distance and shoot them with an arrow. But if you get close, their soft spot will appear or weak point, and then you can shoot them down or hit them, and that will basically give you an advantage. Alright, we have 6 minutes till our ice resist wears out. We just need to head out there, and we will be at the very top of the next shrine. Alright, there we go. Oh, there's another light. You can also burn them if you like. Burning them actually makes them susceptible. There you go. And there's that. Attack again with your weapon. They're pretty tanky at first, but if you have anything like beyond 20 damage, then you should be okay. Now, don't forget to equip your weapon, your bows, after getting destroyed. Yeah. So for the opals and rubies, there's actually something else that they can do, but I'm gonna explain it afterwards. Or maybe you can go experiment with it if you like. Wink wink. It's all up to you. We also have a shield here. Cool. So now we have a flame emitter shield. Shield-based Zonaite weapons can be used in a variety of ways. For example, if it's a flame emitter, you know, it emits flames and it consumes your batteries, right? It's pretty difficult to use as well because it's pointing to one direction. But different Zonai devices yield different results if you attach them onto your shield, so it's all up to you. I'm gonna leave the rest of you to try and experiment and see what you can come out of it. I'm pretty sure you'll find lots of fun things by doing that as well. Right, let's go through here. There is a construct over there. Really, really powerful ones. If you see a construct with like very pointy horns and really, really long ones, they're pretty powerful. So you have to be very careful when fighting them. So, we're here. How do you get there? Well, the best way to get there is to basically dislodge everything in here. But, like I mentioned, there is a much more easier way. So don't ever do that for now. However, we need to get there, so we are going to be dislodging a lot of these. I think we have stones here. There we go. Chop. Chop. I think I need 3. Chop. There we go. After chopping them, combine them all together to fuse into a... Not that. What the fuck is that? Oh, you're the one attacking me. That's why there's a noise. You little shit. Fine. Alright. Technically, it's not supposed to be like this. I'm gonna combine them so that it becomes longer. I'm pretty sure you're wondering, like, Bit, that's not even a straight freaking log. What are you doing? But don't worry, it's okay. It doesn't matter. Because what you're gonna be doing with it is pretty different. No, don't move that. Okay. Now that it's a log, jump over here. Climb it really neatly. Like, you can see, Link is really struggling with the fucking... his back. Have these stuff. You can cook more foods in here. And like I mentioned, you don't need to light it up if you have a shield. Just use the emitter, then you're good to go. And since we're running low on heat resist, we'll craft more of these. There we go. Now we have one that has 5 HP restored, but again, adding 8 more minutes to your resistance, or actually changing it. Just be careful, it does change your effects. So if you use this one and then use a speed move or boost, then yeah, that's gonna change a lot. It's gonna switch to the speed boost instead of the one. Alright, so now here is the most nifty part. After exploring this, we'll get one of the niftiest abilities ever. The most important one. Well, not really the most important, but one of the niftiest. Now, Rauru will basically give us the ability to ascend. Move upward through solid material and emerge on top of it. So we have 3 out of 4 abilities already, so we're almost good to go. Now, here is what the Ascent does. I'm pretty sure that you will be excited to do all of these challenges, but if you don't want to like watch these, I don't know if this is gonna be a bit of a spoiler, but I'm skipping most as possible. So to ascend any material, you just need to select Ascend. Go underneath anything, basically. For example, right here, hit L or L button and hit A. It needs to be green at the very top for it to be able to like get up, but it's applicable to nearly everything. The other thing is that you need to make sure that you don't have a great distance from it. For example, I can't really use it at the very roof on how high it is. It needs to be at least this short. Like you can see that it won't let me use it if the ceiling is too high. But there you go. Oh, this one. There you go. And now, as you can see, now we can ascend through here, right? But, how do you ascend through here? What is the point? Now, the point is easy. It's right here. I thought you need to combine these. Alright, never mind. Alright, you destroy that, ascend through here, and there you go. Alright, construct though. Oh, I can... The best part about it is that you can now open them, and then if you have no space, they let you choose if you want to drop something or just leave it. There you go. Just drop down over here. Send over here. Go. And even if it's moving, as long as you can hit it right, then you should be okay. There you go. Alright, now we can get away from here and use the ability to get up. Remember that area where we can get up on? Where I've used all three of them platforms? We can now come back to that and use the ascend ability. Okay, freezing climates and stuff like that, that's pretty common and stuff like that. There are other temperatures aside from cold. You can also get burnt and like too hot and everything. You're asleep. Alright. Now, as you can see, we can also get there. All you need to do now is ascend through here. There you go. You need to be very, very resourceful and aware of like where you need to ascend or where you should ascend, because sometimes you can ascend on top of waters. And there we go, archaic warm greaves. Thank goodness my balls are pretty practically frozen from that dress. There you go. And now we can fuse over here, and this is another example of a Korok. Oh, stop it over here. There you go. So you'll see these puzzles pretty commonly around the world, and yeah. So now we have 3 out of 4 abilities, and we did what Raru told us to do. So what's next? Well, we'll take this one and glide to the exit. Just align it over here. Be careful, like I mentioned, need to be very close to it. Like I mentioned, you need to be very close. I said. There you go. Click on the center, and you should be good to go. It should directly land you on the Temple of Time. So we've done a full circle, and everything has nearly been fully explored. But what is our 4th ability, and how do we get it? By the way, you can control your Zonaite device if you like. You can, if you stand at the very edge, it gets you like more airtime. Or no, actually it stalls it. Never mind. But you can turn it around. If you flick over here, it'll bank to the right and to the left. And there you go. And now we land towards here. Ta-da! Okay. Now we have both shrines. We can now redeem this area. However, there's something's not right. This area is moving. How do we get past here? Well, it's simple. I'll explain later. If this is a cutscene, I'll just have to cut it out. But I don't think it gives us that power. There we go. So there is our power. Now, we have completed every ability. We are now ready to explore the world. Please, let me skip the cutscene. There you go. Reverse an object's movement until it goes back to where it was. You can stop the reverse movement at any time. So the last ability is time. It's called recall now. It's not stasis. Back then it was supposed to be stasis. So, what do we do now? Should we get out of here? Or like, what happens next? It's all up to you. But basically, now that we have all 4 abilities, we can now revisit areas that we can't reach. Is this a problem to you? Because if it is, then all you need to do is... Oh no, we're swimming. All you need to do is basically use it, you know, like over here. Just remember that there is sometimes loading in between, but it shouldn't be that long. It does help a lot. So this is the last time you can use an ability. So if this is going in reverse, or going forward, then we'll just reverse it really quickly. Should give us enough access to go back and hop on. There you go. And as soon as it turns like that, very good. Okay, now let's change that. It can only reverse 1 object, so, you know. But you can cancel anytime and there is no cooldown, unlike before where there's actually is a cooldown. There you go, and grab over here. And there you go. And then, what is this? It'll tell us that we forgot something. Yeah, okay. So, as you can see, you need 4 light blessing, alright? And you can't get out of here because you need 4. Oh, you can't? No, you can't. You need 4. Yeah, you're still too weak. Alright. So you need 4. And if you don't remember, I think Saga Genesis helped me with this one. But you need to get 1 more HP. How do you do that? Like, I've explored everywhere. Like, all of the shrines has been covered. That's true. But there's 1 more shrine. The shrine that you got out of. So don't ever forget to come back out of it. There you go. Now, all you need to do is go back there. After that, the rest is up to you. No, actually, I'm gonna still showcase a lot of things. I'm terribly sorry that the video took a long while. I did want to explain a lot of things and how to get past stuff. What to do, where to get stuff, and how to fuse and everything. It's a really fantastic guide, if I remember correctly. Like I hope that it helped. So, you can actually go there to reverse things, but there's a shortcut here. Just use this one. There you go. And then use this one. And there you go. You're on the other side, and just click a bit over here with your climbing ability, and you should be good to go. So with this shortcut over here, you will definitely find a shrine outside of this one. There you go. That's your shortcut. What the heck is happening outside? The fuck? I'll skip that. Because this shrine is basically, I think a test of 4 of your abilities. That, or it'll just give us a heart for free, and then, or a light blessing for free, and then we're free to go. It's not gonna give us a blessing for free. So we're gonna need to use the rewind ability here. Alright. If you hop onto it, if you press the button, it immediately freezes time. Just make sure you're looking at the one that you need to rewind. No matter how far they are, you can reverse it. So you don't need to worry about the distance. You just need to make sure you're looking at it. Alright, hop on, let go. Oh, actually, no. Is there another one? Yeah, okay. So that one over there, like, if you can look at it from this far, as long as they're in your field of view and you can select it, you're pretty much good to go. This one, put it back. And this is the cool part. Whee! And it actually takes you at the very, very entrance. There you go. Alright, but what about this one bit? What do we do? Oh, it's easy. Just push it like this, stop it, hop on it as it freezes. There is a like half a second brief moment for you to like grab stuff. Oh, there you go. And then you can just jump down. And then you can press L1 to let it go. This one is a bit tricky if I remember correctly. But what I need you to do is basically you need to time them both together and then freeze them. There you go. You just need to time it where it's like waiting for the long hand or like short hand so that you can pass by. And this is our final light of the blessing. And all we need to do now is leave. Now we can actually get our HP up. Alright, as you leave, you can also encounter this construct over here. Excuse me. This is going to be pretty important somewhere down the line. This construct will let you trade in your Zonaite charges. Sorry, crystallized charges to get energy wells, which is your battery. So, just keep in mind, you can always just teleport over here. All we need to do is head outside. We'll need to fly in one of the birdies again. Okay. Just remember, you can always fly, but just teleport. It's like a lot more faster. It's right there. Oh yeah, let's just teleport. It's like much more faster that way. Oh, we can't. Alright, it will drop us over here. Just be careful. Like, am I? Oh, fuck me. I'm dead. Am I dead? I'm gonna be dead. There's no water nearby. Ah! No! Yeah, that can happen. Apparently I didn't, there was no, like, body of water underneath. But that's okay. That happened, like, 3 to 4 times on the first time of my playthrough as well. I don't have the video anymore. But yeah, that's normal. The difficulty here lies with, like, the HP that you have. If you fell that high, but you have a lot of HP, there's still a good chance that you could survive that. But don't do that. Alright. I was hoping that we can get there really fast, because I don't want to land at the very top. Alright. So this is the most confusing part about Tears of the Kingdom is the overwhelming area that you start with. But don't forget, you can come back to them as you restart your journey and explore. You can find a lot of things in here. You can find more weapons, and of course, like, you can find more Koroks and materials that you can like gather and stuff like that. That's pretty good. Alright. I'm gonna control my descent here so that we can land properly in the water. Because we can't control the birdie or the glider. There you go. Alright. So here you will get your first heart. I think in Breath of the Wild you don't really get that right off the bat. There are plenty of ways for you to get hearts. There are a number of enemies and bosses that will give you hearts as soon as you finish them, but I do not recommend doing that because it's gonna be too long and too slow. I do recommend finding shrines along the way in the world. There's a variety of ways to find them, and I'll put another video just in case if you want. Since this is a new save and this is a different save file, I can showcase another one that has like less spoilers for you as well. I started a new save and went through the actual process of like going through Sky Island just in case you may get lost, you get confused and everything. But like I'm saying, Sky Island is free to explore for you as soon as you get all of these abilities ready. And you are always free to come back. Now, you can just skip ahead and dive down and just come back later. That's all up to you. But take in mind what you've learned and what you've picked up. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask Katie, and I'm pretty sure Katie will ask me, or ask me directly if you like. There you go. So every 4 light blessing or every 4 shrines, you can exchange them for 1 heart container or a stamina. You're not allowed to use stamina right now because if you do, then you won't get out of the Sky Island. So there you go. With the heart container, then that should give us access to the world. Thank you, Goddess Hylia. Now, Hyrule can get very overwhelming, but there are sparse lands in between, areas that you can go through, but you don't need to go through there. You can take slow pace. Go do your quest first. Go do your side quest first if you like, or if you can, if you have the ability to do so. You don't need to basically force yourself to head to the main mission objective right all the time. You're meant to explore and experiment with new areas that you encounter and give access to, better gear and better items and like more health, HP, and stamina. It's all up for you to learn and understand. But take your pace really slow as much as possible. Understand combat more importantly. Run away if you have to because you need to survive basically, and you need to manage your HP because you won't be able to save Hyrule and Zelda if you basically die. But more importantly, you can always come back to this area. This is not gonna be a permanent area locked off. So you can turn this into a practice area. You can turn this into your playground and exploration and stuff. You don't need to worry about the stuff in between. So you're free to go. All right. So this is all of it. The kingdom to Hyrule, or Hyrule, sorry. Just jump. There you go. And this is where the ultimate challenge begins. Fezzy, if you have any question, like I mentioned, don't ever hesitate to ask either Katie or me. While you're falling down, by the way, you can see that there is a lot that you can pin. That's a shrine. That's a shrine. And that's a shrine over there. That's actually 3 shrines already. There you go. The most important thing you do here is to gather as much shrines as possible to get your HP up. That makes your survivability a lot easier and better. And the world will be you know, like a lot more smoother at the very best. Now, if you've run out of those, like there's plenty more as you can see. You can hit your map, and then oh, we haven't landed, but there is like more basically. I can't edit them. Like you can see them over there, but don't worry, this isn't your only chance of finding maps. There will be more. As soon as you land, you know, this is where your journey to Hyrule definitely begins. I'm terribly sorry if you're having a hard time trying to like beat the initial areas, but I can understand the frustration and like how difficult it is, because you are starting off with low HP and how, you know, you're pretty limited to what you can use and fight against. Now that we're in Hyrule Kingdom, there you go. Now you can turn this into a different pin, turn it into gems like this. But just take note that they will disappear in your scope. Like if you zoom in like there, you can see where you need to go, right? But they will disappear. Okay, but it's pretty good if you're discovering new ones and then just like wanted to bother. Now you're in Hyrule. You know, the first area you need to visit is Lookout Landing right over here. It's a tiny area here, over there. But nothing is stopping you, man. You can always go anywhere you want. Until then, have fun and let me know if I can help some more. You know, I'm always happy and ready to help. I'm terribly sorry once again if the video is so long. I do hope that I explained it thoroughly and that gives you more insight to like how you're gonna be surviving. It isn't Souls-like, you don't really lose anything, you just come back to where you actually died. There's autosaves almost everywhere, and you can teleport everywhere, you can run away from fights, you don't really need to fight them directly. There's a variety of views that you can do, you're free to experiment, and it's up to you to discover new ones. Just make sure you don't fight everything all at once, and you take them as slow as possible. There are a variety of things to approach, or like there's a variety of way to approach them, and you don't really need to, like, you don't get anything from fighting them aside from the materials that they drop, so you don't need to force yourself or you don't need to rush yourself to fight them. As you are exploring Hyrule, you will discover new things and new ways to fight, new environments, new enemies, and of course new adventures. You know, I hope that you had fun and enjoy, and I'll see you around, Fezzy. You have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.